is going on? They told me I was just here just in case. I've been here 10 minutes and I'm in the game.
That's my first and only time playing in the playoffs. It hurt to be that close. It kind of made me sick. It's a crazy game. One of the craziest that's ever been played. Even though it hurts, I think it's still worth it for me. Do you still want me? And he's like, man, I think you should stay home.
Is that grind to get to the top absolutely worth it?
It's not worth it.
Well, dude, we've got Shawn Tolleson here, former Dodger and Ranger, closer for the 2015 Texas Rangers team that won the AL West. I want to get into that crazy end of the season, 2015. Nothing like winning it on the last day of the year. And, dude, so we had Brandon Workman in here, and he was like a Texas high school legend.
Yeah.
Dude, we dug into your high school career. Bro, is there a statue of you at Allen High School?
Glory days, a couple of them. Yeah,
Holy smokes, man. Your numbers are outrageous. Your sophomore year, you were 9-2 with a .4. You threw 89 innings.
It's a lot of innings.
Your sophomore year in high school. How many games is a Texas high school season?
I'm not really sure. I really don't know.
89 innings.
I got to ask something on that real quick.
Yeah.
9-2 with a .48 ERA.
Yeah.
How'd you lose? How do you have losses?
I didn't pitch every game.
What's that?
No, but I'm saying your record.
But your record is 9-2
so
with a .4. So like you have 2 losses.
We faced there were some good arms in our district.
Yeah.
So a couple arms. I think there was a kid that year. That year was my sophomore year. There's a guy named Craig Italiano. I don't know if you remember him. He was from Flower Mound High School. He was throwing triple digits.
What?
Another guy on that team. So we faced some good arms. I mean,
was there any guys that you played against that were like big leaguers later on, like in your high school career, like in your district?
I think that season that you're talking about, we lost in the regionals to Mansfield High School. And it was me against Jordan Walden. Jordan Walden who closed.
Yep.
So I think it was both of us up against each other. I guess they won. I don't really remember what happened.
Yeah, he was disgusting. He had like a 40-something save season for the Angels after K-Rod.
Yeah.
And then next year you just go off and you throw another 80 innings, 112 punchies. And then,
and then TJ.
Yeah,
and then TJ happened.
TJ is a senior in high school.
Potentially too many innings pitched in high school?
Potentially. Just a lot of things thrown in my life.
Yeah.
I just always was good at throwing stuff. And I think part of it is like I threw hard way too young. You know what I mean? I think I was 12 years old, probably throwing 80. And I was good at it and it was fun. And so I kept doing it. And
it's hard to tell a kid, because I'm sure you were just like, man, I just want to go play. I want to go pitch. I'm sure throwing 80 miles an hour is 12 is a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun.
I'm sure it's
and
a
you
lot of
can't
fun.
tell a 12-year-old, hey, slow it down.
Yeah.
Right?
And you also I'm sure you probably had a bunch of teams that were like, hey man, you want to come pitch for us this weekend or something like that. And it's easy to be like, yeah, I want to pitch. But
yeah, all the time. Nobody knew any better.
Yeah.
And probably wouldn't have changed anything, but I was probably destined to have TJ. I've had it twice, right? But I'm probably destined to have it at some point.
You had it twice?
I've had it twice.
So you had it first time in high school.
I had it
second time when
I had it 2017.
2017.
Also, had the second one. So I got a good, what is that? Good 11 years out of the first one.
I think that's what they normally the shelf life of that surgery, I think, is around 10 to 12 years.
So good. Man, I'm so pumped that we are talking about my high school numbers in here.
Well, dude,
this is so great.
We had to touch on it just because of Texas high school baseball is and your numbers are, I don't think you could take like a kid from Oklahoma or TCU right now and put him at Allen High School, and I don't think he could put up those numbers.
I can say this now, looking backwards, I was probably better in high school than I ever was in my entire life.
Really?
Probably.
Well,
I threw harder in high school than I ever did in pro ball.
No way. How hard were you throwing in high school?
I was probably up to 98.
My goodness. No wonder I
and it was a little bit, and it was a little bit like funky too, which just made it a little bit harder to hit. And my arm angle slot was a little bit lower. There's a lot going on, but I was in high school just like good.
Did you play any other sports in high school?
I played football and basketball, I think till my sophomore year. And then just kind of decided I remember a game that season you're talking about that I pitched great. Allen is like known for football.
Yeah.
Like it's a big time football place. You have to go through spring football to play football season in the fall. So I was going through, I think I was working out with the defensive ends, and like the two guys I'm going up against are going to, I think one ended up at A&M, one ended up at Arkansas. And I have to go like full pads, full contact practice, and then go pitch a baseball game. Like I didn't even get practice off on like a baseball game day. And I think at that point I was like, man, this is not going to work.
Next level.
This is not going to work.
Did you play did you play all sports until that sophomore year, or did you pick? Okay.
Yeah, I played everything until then.
Was baseball always kind of your thing, or was it like, you're just like, man, I'm just playing whatever's in season?
Both. I mean, both. Yeah.
Both.
Baseball was always my thing. I was the best at it. But I played whatever was in season. I didn't play baseball year round.
So you played defensive end in football?
Yeah. Kind of just played wherever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you play Pop Warner or any of that stuff, like all that tackle stuff growing up, like throughout middle school? All that?
Yeah. Always played.
I mean, I was a football player growing up too. How much do you think, looking back on your career and some of the things that you've gone through, you feel like you built this kind of discipline, resilience from playing football?
I was having this conversation with somebody the other day. I don't love like I've got two boys that don't play football now. And I've thought about this because like I haven't really encouraged them to play, but there is something you get from playing football. And like you said, it is kind of like this just discipline. It's showing up and doing something that you know is going to be miserable. And there's some value to being able to do that because it pays off. Baseball's just kind of fun. Like baseball practice is fun most of the time. But there becomes you play long enough, there's a point in your career where like it just stops being fun. And then it's kind of like you kind of have to get to that level where do I have what it takes to push through even when it's not fun?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that about football too, because, you know, much like you were talking about having to go up against these monsters of human beings at defensive end in pads and then go play a baseball game later that day, showing up in the summer and going through your two-a-days, like you learn to, I don't know if love's the word, but you learn to commit to something that is not always the most fun. That's in the long run, it's going to make you better, but it teaches you to get uncomfortable with doing things that maybe you don't want to do or that aren't fun, that are hard. And then really the fun part of football is the Friday night lights. Like, so you have to go through this entire week of, you know, misery and hell. And then you get to go enjoy one day of playing. Yeah. And you realize, man, that is actually kind of how life works, right? If you have a normal job, you work, you know, Monday through Friday, and then you get to go enjoy the weekends, you know? And I just think there's a lot of power in kids playing football at a young age, whether it's tackle or flag, whatever it is, because it's truly one of the only sports where everyone on the field has a responsibility. Even if the plays ran left and you're on the right side, you have a job to do. And if you don't do your job, then the things don't work.
Yeah. There is, you know, there's one thing like in baseball, we talk like pitching, right? Like a pitcher has, I mean, you can really win a game on your own. You know, it sounds bad, but you have such a dramatic impact on the outcome of the game as a pitcher. Whereas in football, it's such a great team sport because it really requires everyone, you know, and not only like on the field, but like football is one of those sports that culture is such a huge part of it. And like that culture isn't developed on Friday nights. That culture is developed, you know, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, walk through Thursday. And so just experiencing a little bit of that, there's definitely some carryover to that can definitely help you in every sport. And also too, like we talked about this numerous times, sports is merely like the vehicle that we're like developing as a person, right? And as an individual, like whether it be football for this guy or baseball for this guy or basketball for this guy, sports is merely a vehicle where toughness, resilience, like all of these things are developed. And, football is just a really, really good one because there's 22 guys on the field at one time. There can be up to 65 guys on a roster. Whereas, a baseball team in high school is going to maybe have 16 guys on a roster. So, that's a really cool thing. So when you, I guess, quote unquote, decided on, like baseball's what I'm going to focus on, I noticed you got to play on the USA team, the 16U and the 18U team.
Yeah.
Did that kind of play into like, I'm just going to focus on baseball? Because that probably coincided, sophomore year, that probably coincides with the 16U team, right?
Yeah, exactly. A little bit. I think I probably for the first time started receiving some like validation, like that baseball is like, maybe I am good at this. Maybe I do have a future in this. And so for sure, it probably played into it. And like, I wanted to be gone all summer playing baseball. I didn't want to be doing 2 days for football. So a lot of that played into it. There was probably a little bit of fear of like, getting injured playing football, but really baseball's where my future at. So I think all that kind of tied into it. But I think ultimately it was me just loving baseball. It wasn't like I stopped loving football. It's just like my love for baseball took
ultimately
over.
all of us, outside of, a handful of individuals named like Bo Jackson and, Brian Jordan and Deion, like we all have to pick, right? Like you all gotta, you kind of commit to something. Who was probably the greatest influence on your baseball career early on? Like who kind of instilled that love of the game into you? Who taught you the game as a young player?
It was my dad.
Yeah,
my dad. Which ironically, he was not a baseball player. He was a football guy, and but he instilled in me this. I'm calling it a mindset.
Okay.
So we talk about like this toughness factor and this work ethic. My dad was just a hard worker, and so we could see it, right? We could visibly see him working hard. He also made us work with him. So like we had to work hard. Sunday afternoons, we would go to church as a family, go out to eat after church. And then, he would take me to the high school track and we'd run hundreds and 400s. And even just like the little moments of like me being gassed, he'd be like, hey, and this sounds a little crazy as I say it out loud, but he'd say, put your hands on your head. Don't bend over. Don't show any signs of weakness. And I would actually have to recite, I'm not tired. I feel great. I'm not tired. And like, as a kid, like I would come do this. I had an older brother and sister, so we'd all go do this. And like, it is a little insane. Like imagine this dad taking his kid to the high school track and just running them and saying, I'm not tired. I feel great. And he'd record our times. Next week, we'd have to be a second faster. I don't know that there was any consequence for not being a second faster, but it was him that sort of instilled this like work ethic in me. But he also encouraged me in baseball a lot. Like I think if you were to ask him, even though he loved football, he would have said like, baseball is my favorite sport to watch you play. And so he, encouraged me to pursue it.
I was going to say, you talked about getting some validation in terms of like getting an opportunity to play with the USA team, but that's got to be some validation too, hearing that from your dad.
For sure. He believed in me.
But him saying like, I love watching you play baseball. Like, and
yeah.
I mean, you have kids now too. And you think about that too. You probably saying that to your own kids is giving them validation to ultimately pursue what they want to do, whether it's in sports or anything else. But your dad telling you, I love watching you play as a kid, you're probably like, wow.
It's a big deal. And we talk about it now, like we're all dads and kids play sports. And like, we see a lot of, I know you and I see a lot of dads who we think should probably do things differently. But it is pretty powerful. Like my kids love baseball. Like they really love it. And they might not be the best at it, but their confidence is like another level. Like Like, it is so fun to watch. And
Yeah.
I think part of it is because I coach them too, but I just, like, end of a game, I'm like, man, that was fun to watch you play.
Yeah.
But I think they, despite reading off kind of your accolades in high school, we're going to kind of get into your journey. But I think who better to look up for your kids about, perseverance, being drafted later, overcoming, getting to the big leagues quickly. Like, there has to be some, you as their parent, like, who better to look up to it? Like, okay, you might not be the best now, but you also understand being the best in high school probably doesn't always translate to having this incredible career.
Sure.
The fact that they love it and you tell them that you love watching them play, it's got to be extremely rewarding for you too.
It's awesome. It's awesome to see them do something that they're passionate about. Period.
Mhm.
Right. It's fun that it's baseball for them, but I've got a daughter. It's not going to be baseball for her. But when they find something that they love and they have fun, they like genuinely enjoy doing it, man, it's fun.
That's awesome. Especially to kind of just be there. And and for us, I don't want to say selfishly, but like it's a lot more fun for me as a dad when my kid's like, man, I really like baseball. I'm like, me too. Like it's something, like
It's
I can,
fun.
like during basketball season, buddy, I got nothing to offer you. I have zero to offer you right now. During baseball season, I can try and help you out a little bit. So you have TJ as a senior in high school. You have all these accolades, your first team preseason All-American going in. I don't know if these conversations are taking place at home or, because this is pre, Twitter and all this stuff, but you're probably looking at being a pretty high pick in the draft, So you go from that, then you have Tommy John.
Yeah.
And then do you get drafted out of high school?
I don't.
No.
Yeah. So, definitely like my sights were set on signing out of high school. That's what I wanted. That's kind of what I had been working towards. I think it was a real possibility to go in the first couple rounds. And then this, then I tear my elbow on one pitch, like through a pitch. It was first game of the season, senior year. It was a big game. We were playing the Woodlands in like a beginning of the season tournament.
So powerhouse club.
Kyle Drabeck, if you remember him.
Oh yeah.
Former teammate.
Nasty.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
So both of us were on the mound against each other. And
so I'm sure there's scouts.
Every
everywhere.
MLB team is there. All the scouts are watching. And we both get through 3 innings, basically just using fastballs. And we're both just like dotting up and lighting up the radar
just
guns.
Embarrassing these kids.
There's a buzz, right? And I get a runner on. No. First, I think I get a guy 0-2, and I'm like, all right, 3rd inning, about time to show scout a slider. I loved my slider, and I throw it, and I like rip it down and feel a pop in my elbow.
Oof.
And there were all these scouts here, and I was like, man, like, I think I'm done. Like, I think this is it. But I also wasn't sure. Like, I wasn't sure if that's what happened. So I grabbed my ankle and I just called the coach over, called the like athletic trainer over. And I'm like, man, I think I rolled my ankle. And they're like, okay, you're going to keep pitching? And I was like, man, it's really bad. And so I limp off the field. And
no way.
I limp off the field. And
how do you have the court awareness to pull all this off?
I don't know. I'm not that smart, but yeah, I think my parents were kind of just wondering what was going on. And I remember I said, can we get on the school bus? And so athletic trainer went and like put me and my parents, and my high school girlfriend, who's now my wife, we were all sitting on the school bus.
Like, you just didn't want to be seen. So
I didn't want to be seen. I didn't want to talk about it in front of people. I didn't want to cry in front of anybody. But we go sit on the school bus. Our game's still going on. So we're in the parking lot. And I'm just like, I felt a pop in my elbow. Here's what happened. And so.
Is the trainer like, wait, I thought you said it was your ankle.
Yes. They were confused. They were confused. But I mean, this is how the story goes, right?
Yeah.
That was the end of that season. that senior season in high school was super sweet though, because I didn't get to play and I had a blast, like being with my teammates, like truly learning how to like enjoy being part of a team without being the star on the team. It was really good for me. Like God used that year for sure to kind of humble me.
Had you already committed to Baylor at that point?
I had already committed to Baylor. Yeah.
And did they fulfill that commitment to you, even though you had TJ?
Did. Yep. Baylor was good to me. They were really good to me. So yeah, I didn't get drafted out of high school. I got a couple calls on draft day, but it wasn't worth doing.
Where did your mind kind of go to in that moment? Coming off these incredible seasons, sophomore, junior year, preseason All-American. You talked about the buzz in the stadium. You're going against another Kyle Drabeck, ended up being a first rounder too. You're sitting in this school bus. Your season's probably over. Did your mind think beyond that? Like, is my baseball career done? How am I going to bounce back from this? I mean, you're a young kid at this time. Yeah. It's got to be difficult to kind of go through that.
Never once thought like this is the end. I wouldn't even say I was devastated. It just seemed like
Would you say it was a plan?
I wanted to play Major League Baseball, right? And there's a lot of pathways. We all took different pathways there. And I was like, well, the pathway I thought I was on must not be the pathway that I was supposed to be on. Now it took me weeks to get there, but I never questioned whether I was going to do it or whether I wanted to do it, anything like that.
Man, that is a impressive amount of emotional and spiritual maturity for a 17, 18-year-old kid at that time, because, like you said earlier, it's very easy now to sit back and be like, yeah, man, there's plenty of different, paths to where you want to go. Right. That's a huge reason why we kind of started this podcast is, it's all like everybody's journey is different. Like there's no one really takes a true straight trajectory, right? Like it is, it's a chart. It's going up and down the whole way there. And you never know what direction it's going to go. But
I don't think you need to I don't think you need to pat my back on like being spiritually mature. Like, I don't think it was that. Like, I think today I could say I could be spiritually mature. I've lived enough life to be able to get there. But as like an 18-year-old, like it really wasn't that as so much as it was. I just loved it.
Do you think there was an element of like blind arrogance or like cockiness because you knew you were good?
I don't think it was that either. I think it was just genuinely like, I love baseball. So
dude, you're going to chase
I love
the dream
baseball.
regardless.
So I'm going to do it. Right.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like this. And I don't see it today. Like the high school kids that I get to watch and I watch them play, like I don't see it in them today a lot of times. And it rattles me and it kind of frustrates me. There's a group of sophomores that I kind of mentor, uber talented kids, right? They all want to get drafted in the top 3 rounds out of high school. Great players. I asked them the other day, and I won't get us too off topic here.
No,
but
this is a great topic. Stay on.
I asked them the other day, I said, we were talking about external rewards, right? External rewards would be like a scholarship or a signing bonus or a like or on social media, something like that. And we were talking about how like if you pursue something looking for external rewards, like work ethic at some point is going to suffer when it just starts to suck. At some point you'll just stop pursuing it. But if you pursue something because you see a purpose beyond it, like you almost feel like this is a calling, like you pursue it no matter what. So I really think like for me, baseball felt like a calling. And so when an obstacle comes up and there's a roadblock and a detour, it was just kind of like okay, so let me do that.
Doesn't change anything.
I don't think anything more true has been said on this show, because we've talked about it too, that, and even in your own situation, you know, we talked about the COVID season ending it, but you could have continued to play knowing the external reward was money, real money, like life-changing money. Yeah. But your love and your drive and your passion of going through the work, chasing kind of that carrot, kind of went away. And even though there's a huge external reward at the end of it, if you don't love it, what you're doing, if you're not willing to work hard, if you're not really willing to go through the fire, then you're never going to get there.
Nope.
Yeah, you said that perfectly. So I asked these kids, this was about 2 weeks ago that I asked them this. I said, if a college scholarship is off the table and a signing bonus is off the table, you can still play. You can still play on the college team. You can still play on the professional team. But the money, the scholarship, all that's off the table. Would you still continue? Because these kids work really hard. I was like, would you still continue working hard to pursue this? And they were like, just silent. And I was like, oh, crap. And I was like, I actually want y'all to answer. So think about, like, really give me an honest answer. And they all said no.
Really?
They all said no. And that's what it kind of shook me. And I was just I was like, man, guys, like, what? I was like, let me ask you again, because I'm not sure you understood what I was asking.
Yeah.
Like, would you play this for free? And they're like, oh, I don't know. Right. So like at 16 years old, and it's not just these kids, and it's not their fault really, but at 16, a lot of these kids are seeing this as kind of their job already.
Yeah.
And like the joy of just playing the game of baseball is like, it's kind of gone too soon.
And you have slightly older kids and you have an older one than I have. Would you even say you're seeing that at a younger age? Do you think you see kids at 10, 11-year-olds seeing it as a job, as maybe a meal ticket to eventually get to college or to professional baseball, to have that external reward at the end of it? Or do you feel like kids at 10 or 11 are still playing because the joy of the game?
I think it's happening. I think it depends on the kid, but I think it's for sure you can see it at a younger age, which is super sad. You know, part of the problem is that kids, like the organized practice or games, is like, it's happening too often. So that, like, you know, you get dressed like you're putting on a uniform for work, and you go and you do this 6 out of 7 days a week. That does start to feel like a job. It's not much different than school, right? Most kids would see school as kind of a job. And now we're kind of creating the same kind of monster with sports sometimes. So yeah, I think it happens. And I think parents sometimes sort of push into that too, right? And so I see parents that invest money in their kids' athletic endeavors, and maybe the criteria that they use to judge whether their investment is paying off is like the wrong criteria, right? The criteria should be, are they getting better? Are they loving it? Are they having fun? Are they learning that hard work pays off? And the criteria they're using is like, is his average going up?
Are they winning rings?
Are they winning rings? Does he have a shot at earning a scholarship so that I can get some of this money back? And that's just not fair. That's not fair at all.
That's really not. And it's, you know, there's a lot of undue pressure on some very, very young kids that they're not ready to deal with that yet, especially on a weekend by weekend basis, as often as kids are playing now too. So, so you go to Baylor, you know, not shaken at all by TJ. You're like, hey, I love baseball. I'm going to continue playing. You have an opportunity to go to Baylor. Great program. Who, when you were being recruited, was it Baylor all the way, or was there a lot of other schools that were kind of right there in their mix that you weren't sure about? Like, I mean, what was your high school recruiting process like? Because you were you had so many accolades, you know, your 16U and 18U USA team, you know, I'm sure Baylor wasn't the only team that was. No,
I was recruited by everybody, and thought pretty seriously about like UT and A&M and Baylor and Oklahoma State, Arkansas, like went and talked to all those coaches, met with all them. Ultimately chose Baylor because the number one reason I chose Baylor is because my wife wanted to go there. That was really it. So I was it sounds crazy, but like I was so committed to her even in high school, like knew I was going to marry her.
Mrs. Tolleson was Baylor's best recruiting tool.
So I just kind of was like, hey, like which of these schools do you want to go to? And she's like, hands down, I want to go to Baylor. And so Baylor obviously had a lot of other stuff going for it. They had just come off a World Series appearance. It's a Christian school, which appealed to me. So there was a lot of good things about it, but it's close to home. But ultimately, that was kind of my deciding factor. I don't know if that's the best advice for people to listen to, but it's my story.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it
also,
happened.
I was going to say it's your story. And I think despite where you would have gone, if you would have chose other places, if you would have heard, kind of the sales pitch from the coach or the pitching coach, I don't think it would have mattered where you went, because ultimately you love the game and you had this kind of focus that I just need an opportunity to play. It could have been at Baylor, Arkansas, UT. It wasn't a matter of getting around the right people. Like you had this, you kind of said it was your destiny to get there. Yeah. It didn't really matter where you went.
I think you're right. I don't think it mattered so much. I don't think it mattered so much for my baseball career. And I also don't think it like, I mean, you guys have a similar story. I don't think it matters so much where you get drafted either. It's just so much is put on the draft.
It really is.
Once you got to Baylor, though, was there a coach, a pitching coach that taught you something profound, whether it was work ethic, a different grip on a pitch? Is there something that kind of changed there? Or was Baylor strictly kind of the vessel you used in order to just go out there and play games?
Man, I struggled at Baylor on the field. I wasn't very good. I was lower than mediocre, probably college pitcher. I redshirted my freshman year. I shouldn't have redshirted my freshman year. Tried to come back. My elbow just hurt coming back from Tommy John. It just wasn't a super smooth rehab process for me. So redshirted my freshman year. Got to pitch my sophomore year, and I was kind of like I couldn't get out of the first inning, and then I would next game throw like a 9-inning shutout. And then the next 2 games I couldn't get out of the second inning, and I'd throw a 9-inning shutout. So very, small flashes of like, hey, this guy could really be something, but kind of you look all through my college career, never figured it out. Really never figured it out. I think I was probably, the Baylor staff was robust in terms of their ability to coach and mentor. They were the best dudes. But specifically pitching, I kind of was lost. I didn't really have like a single person who I went 2 years without pitching. So I had to relearn how to do this. And I was kind of missing someone that could just break it down and teach me how to pitch again. And so a lot of it I kind of had to do on my own. And I probably didn't work on it enough because my arm never felt good. So, and I think part of the reason my arm never felt good is I didn't throw enough. There's like that tipping point where it's like, you just need to throw more and then it'll feel better. I didn't understand. I was timid. I was kind of like holding on to this previous injury, and I probably didn't throw enough. Like I would start on like a Saturday game, and I wouldn't pick up a ball again until like Tuesday. I'd be like, it just hurts too bad. Yeah. And knowing what I know now, it's like, you got to just move it, right? You got to move your arm. But yeah, I mean, I was mediocre. I thought maybe the previous year, my redshirt sophomore year, I thought I would get drafted that year and sign. I had some good games that year. I was meeting with scouts. I met with all the teams, told them how much money it would take to sign me. Right. So I kind of watched that draft and never heard my name get called. And then I show up to Baylor the next season.
Well, what about you went to Cape that year?
I went to the Cape. I went to the Cape for 2 summers.
Yeah. Who'd you play with in the Cape?
First summer I played for Yarmouth Dennis, and then the next summer I played for Chatham.
Whitey Red Sox.
Yeah, and I pitched good up there. Like I kind of pitched good.
For me, I always talk about, I didn't play in the Cape, I played in the Northwoods, but that was kind of the light bulb moment for me where I externally kind of had the light bulb go off for me. I was surrounded by, it's basically like playing an all-star game all the time, right? And you're one of those guys, and I came from a smaller school, and I was playing in a league greater than mine, and I was surrounded by all these really good players, and that's when I realized I could probably do this, because not only am I as good as them, there's certain days I'm better than these guys. It made me a believer. Did you have a similar experience going to the Cape? And were there certain guys that you remember from your Cape team that kind of went on and did great things that you were surrounded by?
Yeah, we had so many studs on that team.
So the summer you were in YD, was that 08?
Yeah.
08?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think, because I was signed to go up to YD, I think that summer, and I had Tommy John right before I had Tommy John that year. But yeah, that was something that I didn't get a chance to do. I was really looking forward to it, just because, it's supposed to be the greatest collection of college baseball players in one place, in this very cool historical place.
It is cool historical place. It's a fun experience.
Yeah,
it's a fun experience.
How'd you do up there?
I pitched well.
Yeah,
I pitched well up there.
Did it give you like a, because that sometimes is viewed as kind of like a proving ground.
Yeah.
Right. Some guys that are, they have great college seasons with aluminum bat, especially for hitters, right? They go up there and then they just get carved up, right? There's a lot of velo there. Yeah. There's, and guys don't swing a wood bat particularly well. And sometimes guys that maybe, they have a great arm, but they just quite haven't put it together yet from a pitching standpoint. They go there and they miss a lot of bats and they make a name for themselves. Was it somewhere that you went up there and you were like, you know what? Like I can still play this game? Because I'm sure, after coming off the injury, you're probably like, man, where am I at?
Probably so. I don't know that I ever had like that light bulb moment, but now that you're talking about it, I'm sure it helped my confidence going up there and throwing the ball well. I think the wood bats probably had a lot to do with it. I think you and I's stuff plays similar. Like, and you can hit a metal bat, and like a late life four seamer, like it hurts with wood, but a metal bat can kind of get the job done sometimes. But, so I think that helps.
Yeah. So you go up there for a couple of years, you end up getting drafted in the 30th round in 2010.
Yeah.
Right. So we talked about like later round pick, I was 23rd round. What
32nd?
32nd,
yeah, nice.
30th round.
It's nice to be in a room with you guys.
Yeah. Hey,
I feel like we're in a room of our peers.
Between the three of us,
and we're all the same age, which is kind of cool.
And between the three of us, there's
you
probably
were 2010
30.
draft too.
So I did get drafted in 2010. I didn't sign.
So 11 draft.
I signed in the 11 draft.
11 draft. 10
I
draft.
was 10 draft. Yeah.
Yep. I signed in the 11 draft. And
so what was that moment like? I mean, getting drafted in the 30th round. Do you remember you watched it online, got a phone call?
No, I told you guys that the previous year's draft, like I was glued.
Yeah.
Thought I was getting drafted.
And you didn't get drafted at all.
I didn't because I asked for too much money. And so then the next year comes, I pitch worse than I did the year before. And I kind of am just over it.
Yeah.
Like I still want to play, but I was like, hey, I'll go back for another year at Baylor, or I'll sign late. I don't know what I'll do. So I didn't even know I got drafted when it happened. I wasn't watching it. It's 30th round.
Did you have an advisor at the time?
I had an advisor, but like we had been together since we were 16 at this point. He was kind of like, all right, man, it's going to happen someday.
He had your old number.
But no, I think it's funny. The story goes like this, is that so Kershaw and I were buddies in high school.
Yeah.
Not at the same high school, but played summer ball forever together and became really close, really good friends. So this 2010 draft rolls around and Clayton calls me. He's like, hey, do you want to play pro ball? I was like, yeah. I was like, I'll sign. Like, I just want to start, I just want to get in. And he's like, all right. And so all these like by the time you get to like 30th round, these teams are, you run out of names to choose. You're kind of like, hey, like who
Who's available? Who's left?
Who do you think? And
Yeah.
You start doing some favors too.
Right. And so
whether it's like a brother-in-law or a friend, and then you do have the occasional area scout who's like pounding the table for you. Like, they're not these big time cross checkers.
Yeah.
They have a small little area. And I know my guy, Kevin Fox, like came and found me at Dominguez Hills, and I could just visually seeing him like being on a phone call, the 30th second rounds coming around. He's like, what other better option do you have? Like, hear me out. I think this guy can play. Like,
that's kind of how it goes.
Do me a favor. Like, I'm literally putting my job on the line for this guy. Like, that's how much I believe in him.
Yep. So no doubt, like the area scout saw me pitch and probably was like, he might, I don't know.
Yeah.
And Logan White, who was Dodger scout for a long time, liked me a lot in high school. I don't know about now. But Kershaw, he's never told me this, but I've heard this story from so many people in the Dodgers front office that he popped his head in and was like, "Hey, is Tolleson available? Just take him. Just take him.
He's like a baby in his big league career.
He's gonna work hard."
But this is so.
What year?
Kershaw
was 06 maybe?
06, yeah.
06. So
he was in the big leagues.
And he made his debut in 09.
Yeah.
So this is his second year in the big leagues. He's popping his head in.
Yeah.
To the front office.
Yeah.
Saying, hey, like this Tolleson kid, like I knew him, from back in the day.
And his sell was that you would work hard.
That was it.
That's awesome.
Which I did. That was it. That was the
hell
sell.
of your end of the deal.
This kid was really good when he was 16. You should take him.
You should have seen him on that. You should have seen him on that 16 USA team.
You should have seen him when he was 16.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, dude, that's great. And then so I'm assuming you probably this is back when the draft is in June, and then they used to have like this signing deadline or like August, whatever. Did you sign right away?
I signed right away and then went and played. Yeah.
Did they give you some decent money at least?
No, not really. I think they offered me 1,000, and I really wanted to buy an engagement ring. And so I said, any chance you can do 10,000? Because I really want to buy an engagement ring. And they said, sure.
No way.
You want to hear my story? I got offered $1,000 too. I was a senior sign, 32nd round, just graduated college. They call me, I get drafted. I'm like over the moon, right? Like I'm going to play pro ball. They're like, hey, $1,000, we sign. I'm like, okay, can I have 2,000? He like hangs up. He's like, let me call you back. No, 1,000. One more request. I just graduated college. I'm having a graduation party Saturday. Do you think I could just come Sunday? Let me call you back. No, you need to be here Saturday. So, So I had to call all my friends and family and be like, by the way, the graduation party's tonight. You're all coming earlier. We're doing it tonight because I got to be on a plane. I'm going to Dunedin, Florida tomorrow. That's great negotiation though.
Yeah. So you just told everybody, everybody listening that's going to watch this episode how much your wife's engagement ring costs.
Yeah, now they know.
Well, no, we have to factor in taxes, federal.
You're assuming I used all the money for it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Well, dude, that's awesome. And then so you sign. Where's your? Do you go to where's spring training for the Dodgers at that point? Glendale.
It was in Glendale.
So do you go to Glendale or do you go to?
I went straight to Ogden, Utah.
Ogden,
Utah. Yeah, the Pioneer League. So I went straight up there and just started pitching. Got up there. I'd always been a starter. Got up there. 5 starters already. They said, if you want to get innings, throw out of the bullpen. And I said, yes, sir. And went down there and it just clicked.
Like when you say it just clicked, like what do you mean? Like what?
I have no idea.
It's like you were just throwing strikes, felt good, like
just clicked.
Did you have a velo jump?
Back?
Velocity came back. Just pumping strikes.
Were you throwing that good changeup back then?
Didn't have a changeup at this point.
Didn't have a changeup yet.
Did not have a changeup yet. No. That was a Mike Maddox thing.
Really?
Yeah. But I don't know. I really don't know. It just kind of clicked.
Yeah, you just got in a rhythm and just kind of ran with it.
I think so.
Sometimes that happens. You call it like lightning in a bottle or whatever. I will say. So you had Tommy John in 2006.
Yeah,
2006, and it took a while to come back from it. Right? Like
took a long time.
So I had a similar experience. I had Tommy John surgery February 6th, 2009. and Dr. Andrews did my surgery, and I was like, all right, well, in 12 months, I'm going to be back better than ever. You know what I mean? And dude, that just was not the case. Like the next year I was in JUCO, and I was kind of rehabbing myself, and I'd have a start where my arm hurt so bad. Like I just wanted to pull myself out of the game. And then I'd have a start that everything was fine. And so that next year was just so up and down and just painful, and just trying to figure out, like, I have a twin brother who he had Tommy John a year before me. And so I'm calling him like every other day, like, hey, is this normal? Like, the back of my elbow is like locked up. I can't, like, I was driving my truck today and my arm seized up on me or like whatever it was. And so I'm trying to just figure out, like, is there something wrong with my arm, or is this just part of the process? Right. And then I go to college, go back to a 4-year, go to High Point University in North Carolina. And I pitch again. And this is the first time I've pitched pain-free, but it's still like the feel isn't quite there. Like I can't do things with a baseball. The velo is not quite back. And then I get drafted. They put me in the bullpen, and it just kind of takes off. So, I mean, it could be a very similar, like where it's like, I don't know. You just took the longer road. Your recovery, some guys take 12 months. Some guys take 2.5 years. And that just may have been our journey. It's just different.
I think it's part of it. I think part of it too is there's something about just like, for me, just getting into pro. Like I was so looking for, I loved college.
Yeah.
I was so looking forward to getting into pro ball. There was never this these horror stories from the minor leagues. Like I loved it.
You really?
I loved the minor leagues.
Did you have a host family in Ogden?
I thought it was awesome. I did have a host family in Ogden. Yeah.
I mean, minor league baseball.
Baucom was he was my roommate.
That's right.
In Ogden.
That's right.
Yeah, he was my roommate. That's awesome. Neither one of us had a car. And we found this 1982 Cadillac Coupe de Ville. And anyway, so we're driving it for the first time, and we're like, man, this is so great. We can drive ourselves. And we're running out of gas, and we pull up to the gas station, and we could not figure out how to put gas in it. We're like, it was underneath the license plate. You have to like flip up the license plate, put gas. But we're like trying to figure it out, like looking it up. We'll go inside and ask like the gas station worker, like, hey, do you know how we put gas in this car?
He's probably looking at you guys like, where y'all from?
Yeah, it was fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah, good times.
So when do you start? You say you go to the bullpen, you go to Ogden, and you move pretty quick through the minor leagues with the Dodgers. When do you start closing games? Dude, were you closing games?
That first, like, as soon as I got to pro ball, I think I threw, like, my first outing just happened to be a 9th inning, and I threw really well, and they were like, all right, well, I guess.
So you closed from the jump?
Right from the very beginning.
Do you think that's a learned skill? Like, do you think you have to learn the 9th inning? Because a lot of times now, most closers in the big leagues right now, they're starting throughout the minor leagues, or at least they're on that what they call that the priority schedule, where it's like, oh, you're going to throw 2 innings this day, or you're piggybacking. Like a lot of guys don't close until they get to the big leagues. Do you think there's a lot of benefit in learning how to close in the minor leagues?
No idea.
No idea.
What do you think? You're a better.
I don't know. I didn't close in the minor leagues.
I don't know. I'd probably not.
No,
probably not. I think. I hate to say it. I think that 9th inning is a little overhyped. Sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it depends on who you're facing, right?
Yeah.
So like sometimes the 7th and 8th are
a lot
harder.
I definitely agree with that. Where sometimes, man, like I'll say this: some of the best pitchers that I ever got to play with, they were like never closers. Right. Yeah. Like Andrew Miller.
They like Andrew Miller comes in when it's hard.
Dude, I was the 3rd best pitcher on my team one year, and I was the closer. Like the 3rd best guy in our bullpen. And it was Andrew Miller and Brian Shaw were facing the meat of the order in front of me. And those guys were getting the big boys out.
Yep.
And
but there's definitely a mental component to having 8 innings of baseball completed, and it's all coming down to the pinnacle of having to get 3 outs. And granted, they might not be the toughest 3 outs of the game, but we can sit here and say they're the most important, because if you don't get them, the ultimate outcome of the game falls on that person's shoulders. So I do believe that there's some learned behavior that is necessary to be able to go into that environment.
Yeah.
Is it always the toughest part of the lineup? Is it always the most important part of the game? But there is still a point of that game that you as an individual has to be comfortable taking on that type of responsibility.
Yeah.
I can relate it to being a hitter.
Mm-hmm.
There's definitely at bats throughout the game that are probably tougher. I'm facing a better arm, and it might be a more crucial spot, a more pressure filled, but nothing compares to being up in the 9th inning facing a closer when I'm the reason ultimately we extend the inning where the game's over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, do you feel like, because I do think that there's certain guys that they never get comfortable doing it. I think there's a level of comfort that has to be had in order to be out there for the 9th. And some guys just don't ever quite get there, right? Like they have a comfort in the 8th, or they have, like they have their role that they're really good at that role. I think for me personally, I think I always was big. Like I tried to just I wanted like no pulse out there. I wanted to be very calm. Some guys love just jacking themselves up, like I was never that guy. Just because when I looked around, I was like, all right, who are like the guys right now? Like not only like current, but like across the spectrum of like the last 20 years. It was like, all right, Mariano Rivera's far and away the guy, right? Trevor Hoffman, the guy. Joe Nathan at the time was a guy I loved watching Joe Nathan pitch, right? Kenley Jansen at the time, like he was another guy. And, but then you had your guys like Papelbon, you had
Eric Gagne.
You had these guys who were like really intense and just like, were fist pumping after every punch out, all this stuff. I don't know. I don't know if it fit my style, or I was like, man, I don't feel like there's a ton of longevity there, or there's a ton of like sustained, like, I feel like there's a lot more like highs and lows there. Whereas like, it just seemed like it didn't matter the situation with Mariano or Hoffman or whatever. Like the situation was just never too big for them because they were just this like steady thing. And I don't, maybe that helped me like kind of just, it made where like the 9th inning was no different than the 8th for me, because whether I'm pitching the 7th or I'm pitching the 9th, I want to do well regardless.
No doubt. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, I'm going to pitch as long as, until the manager comes and takes the ball from me.
Yeah.
Just in the 9th inning, they're not going to come take the ball from me. You're either going to win or you're going to lose it.
Yeah. I think there's an element of just feeling like some guys are going to feel comfortable out there in the 9th. Some guys aren't. And maybe getting to do that in the minor leagues is helpful. Ultimately, I think it's a player by player thing. Some guys are just going to have it. Some guys aren't. I also, like you, was just always even keeled.
Yeah.
Always out there. Like I never wanted somebody to know if it was a good day or a bad day.
Yeah.
I just wanted to show up and be the same. So I don't know. I think the thing I loved so much about throwing out of the bullpen was just getting to pitch more often.
Yeah.
And that was, as somebody who's like, I'm still like trying to learn how to pitch again, like getting to do it more often, I think was good for me. It helped it click, right? Being able to just get out there more consistently.
Being in the bullpen does force you to going from starting to being in the bullpen. Cause I was the same way. I started all through college, and then as soon as I signed, bam, bullpen.
Yeah.
And like having the opportunity to potentially play, like it kind of forces you to be engaged. Like, I'll say this, man. I know going through a season as a reliever or as a bullpen guy, like it's taxing because like mentally it's taxing because like you got to get ready and all this stuff. But I remember watching like guys like Brantley and Lindor and just like admiring their ability to show up and play every single day, because I'm like, dude, I'm smoked and I might play for 10 minutes tonight. Y'all are playing all 9 innings.
Yeah.
And I might play for 10 minutes. And you're playing from the jump every day. And I just like that. I have a huge admiration for the guys that are able to, because mentally to stay engaged for 3+ hours every night at the highest level and be focused and try and figure out like, hey, what's this guy trying to do to me? What's this situation? You in center field, like, hey, reading a guy's swing, like you could be 0 for 2 with 2 punch outs, but Jay Happ's on the bump and you're trying to read a right-hander swing off the bat. Like, you can't be sitting there sulking because you're like, man, like, this guy's blowing me up, you know? That's hard. That is
I
really,
think the
really
most
hard.
difficult, I think you get into a rhythm and almost immune a little bit to playing every day because that's just kind of what expected. The focus part you're talking about is just ingrained in you. Like when you're out there for that period of time, you're just very like, it's surreal. You know, everything outside, you know, that moment doesn't really matter. I think the most difficult thing playing every day is when things aren't going well, there's not a whole lot of time to fix it. Like a lot of times you're putting little band-aids on big problems, right? Like I can't go in and take 10,000 swings to try to get out of a slump. I can't reinvent my mechanics overnight. So you have to learn how to put band-aids on these big fixes and understand like the work that I put in. I got to be strategic with the amount of work I put in, but I'm not going to get the fix today. But if I continue to like chip away at it, eventually I'm going to get to that fix and then things will click and I'll stick going. But that was always the hardest thing for me was when things weren't going well, you know, mentally it was hard to be like, okay, how do I balance being the best competitor today and trying to help my team win, but also trying to figure out how do I fix myself? There's no time for it. Where in all these other sports, you got off days and days in between. If you have a bad shooting game in the NBA, you go to the arena the next day and you can get up 10,000 shots. You don't have to worry about playing the next day.
Yeah,
it's true.
I was going to ask you too, how much did you know about minor league baseball before you got into it? Did you know like the amount of levels you had to overcome? And then I was just kind of looking at 2011, you went from the Great Lakes Loons, which is a tremendous place. Then you go to Rancho Cucamonga, then you go to Chattanooga. So you're going 3 levels in 1 year. Was that a little bit of the reality check? Like, man, I'm knocking at the door? Or did you understand like the amount of levels that you had to overcome when you went into the minor leagues?
I understood it. Yeah, if you had asked me, like I could have told you how many levels there were, but I know I was literally just having a blast. Like I was just pitching and like having a blast, making lifelong buddies, and like I wasn't so consumed with, I don't know.
Yeah, who's getting called up?
The climb.
Yeah.
I wasn't so consumed with the climb. You know, when you get to like AA, AAA, like you've got guys in your team who are like the stat rat guys who are always monitoring everyone, and it's this comparison game. And
I remember that.
Who's going up, who's going down, who's slumping in the big leagues right now.
Yeah. Big league team just went 16 innings. They need an arm. Like who's going up, you know?
And I stayed out of it. I just stayed out of it. Like I just tried to be where my feet were that day and just have fun doing it. So I think I understood it. I think I surprised myself with how quickly they moved me. I think I probably saw myself as a 30th rounder who got an engagement ring signing bonus and thought maybe they would give opportunities to other guys before me, but I just kind of blasted past a lot of them. And it became interesting, you know, going from one team to the next. And these guys have been there last season and now they're back this season. And then you're there 2 weeks and you're on to the next place. And so it's a different kind of vibe when you're just going through places like that. But what was
your favorite minor league stop? What was your favorite town? Like your minor league place you lived?
Probably Chattanooga.
Chattanooga?
I like Chattanooga.
That's a cool place.
Probably the overall best, like, so you said Great Lakes Loons, great place. It is a great place. It's probably the best, like, wholesome family, like just minor league little town. Is an awesome place. But I spent the most of my minor league time in Chattanooga. And that's where I think that's where I got to experience like the real minor leagues, like no host family.
Bunch of guys in one apartment.
Bunch of guys, right? So like we shared an apartment with another married couple, and we shared hotel rooms with the same married couple on the road. Like we stayed in Days Inn, motel rooms, and didn't have money to eat. Like, 4 of us eating on one Jason's Deli salad bar.
League? Is that Eastern League? What league was that?
No, Southern
League.
Southern League. Dang, so that's a travel.
I was going to go back to what you said too. I think ultimately, I would have liked to have done it differently in the terms of being drafted sooner because you make more money, life's a little bit easier. But I do think there is something about getting drafted later and you're an older guy, like a college guy, a little bit more mature. I do think maybe initially you don't get the same opportunities as everyone else, but if you make the best of those opportunities, the fact that there's not a lot invested in you, I do think there is an opportunity to get pushed quickly because they don't have this huge financial incentive invested in you, right?
Yeah.
So they don't want to stunt your development. They don't want to have you fail. They coddle you a little bit. But I think when you're a guy that's drafted later, they almost take this sink or swim mentality. And as long as you're able to, perform and run with the opportunities that are given to you, and they might not be a ton at the beginning, but if you make the best of them, I think it was very similar to me. I like 32nd rounder, went to, short season. Next year I was in, very similar to you. Next year I was in Lansing, same league as Great Lakes. And then at the All-Star break, I'm in high A. And then the next year they send me to double A. And then I'm in triple A. And then I'm in the big leagues. And I'm like, wait, how did this happen? Right. But I think there was this element of like, we don't have a ton invested with him. Let's just figure out. We'll push him until he fails. And then I just never failed until I got to big leagues. And then once you're in the big leagues, then they kind of are able to, pull it back a little bit and like, okay, wait, this guy got to the big leagues. Now we can actually invest some time and some energy, some resources in him. So I find a lot of similarities.
I think you're right. Our paths are very similar. And there probably is this sink or swim approach with guys who you don't have a lot invested in, but also like you're like I feel like your whole path of, who you were in high school, and then the college you went to, and then being like all that sort of prepared you for that sink or swim, right? And you were able to swim because you worked hard your whole career. You were overlooked a little bit your whole career. Like there was no pressure. There was no big expectation of like, hey, Kevin Pillar, like big expectations for him. I hope he doesn't sink here. You were just kind of like, sweet.
No, I like what you said.
Sweet. I get to go play baseball.
Yeah. I like what you said too. I think, and I asked you about knowing the minor league system because when I got in, I had no idea that I was like 10 levels away from the big leagues. I was like happy to be there and I was always where my feet were at. But I think whether it's in professional sports, baseball specifically, or business, and getting a chance to talk to a lot of successful business people, when you know the alternative of like either being bankrupt or broke or knowing what the bottom feels like, you have perspective to like only go up, right? When you've always been at the top, like you don't know what it's like to be on the bottom of the mountain. And and when it happens, a lot of people don't know how to come back from that. But when your foundation is ground zero and you start to climb a little bit, you never want to go back down the mountain.
Yeah. No, that's right. That's right.
So take it. So you go, I mean, from 30th round, a year later, you're in double A, you pitch 57 games, 7-2 record, 1.17 ERA and 25 saves. You are now the Dodgers minor league pitcher of the year in 2011. Do you get an opportunity the following year? Do you get a big league invite to spring training?
No.
You don't get a big league invite to spring training in 2012?
No.
Those guys do.
Well, so what is that kind of like? You coming off this extremely successful, crazy season of going through 3 levels, you're closing out games, you finish in double A, you get the call in the offseason from the minor league director, hey, you're coming to minor league spring training. Is that another sort of just obstacle in your journey you saw? Are you disappointed? Do you not really care? You're just still like, hey,
just don't care.
Or are you just like, man,
can't phase them.
I'm excited that they're having me come back to spring training.
Yeah, I had no expectation to go to big league spring training. That's the first time I've ever thought about that.
Really?
First time that I've ever thought like, yeah, that is weird. They didn't invite me to big league spring training.
It's very weird.
First
you
time
should think about that more often.
First time I ever thought about that. I was excited that I was pitching well. I was excited that like people were watching me now. Yeah. Like I had got some attention from them. So I was excited about that. But
do you remember in that spring training, did you get an opportunity to come over to the big league side? And what's the word that they use?
Back up. Were you a jick? Or you a jick? You just in case guy?
I did that a few times. Yeah. I did that
Collect
a few times.
some real money. Get a tan.
Did you get an opportunity to pitch in a big league game?
Yeah. And nice. I pitched well. Yeah, I went over there, pitched a couple times.
Who was the first? Did you face any like legit big leaguers that spring?
No,
you faced a lot of like, like 8th, 9th inning.
Those guys were gone.
You want to tell them yours real quick?
Those guys were gone.
Because you've talked about it, like how you were a JIC.
I was a JIC. Yeah, I was a JIC. First game of spring training. And this was the year after I got drafted. So this was I signed in 2011, played out the short season.
Yeah.
2012, come in, throw some good bullpens. And they're just like, hey, you're going to back up today in the big league game. I was like, what's that mean? They're like, that means you need to be over here by 12 o'clock and
get number 97, too big for your body.
Yeah, go get your
You're
union.
here just in case.
I was a JIC, 100%. And Justin Masterson was throwing 2 innings. Derek Lowe was going to throw the 2 innings after him. They both had pitch counts, right? First inning, Masty goes out. There's like 18 pitches. They're like, hey, he's got 12 pitches left. Okay. And they're like, all right, get Allen warm. It's the second inning. And he gets one guy out, walks a guy. They bring me in. And dude, heart is beating out of my chest. You talk about like being that like low key, like, no, can't even see. Like, I don't know what's going on. I almost get decleated by the, like the gate. And did you ever play in Goodyear?
Yeah.
All right. So the gate, like, they open the gates out there in left field and there's like the clip that the gate hooks on. It grabbed my jersey like as I'm running onto the field and it just like ripped me backwards like on the warning track. And I look up and Dan Wheeler's staring at me like this. And he was like, good luck, kid. And I was like, oh my God, what am I doing here? And I get out there, I warm up, do the whole deal. And then I hear it's like, no batting, Scott Rowland. And I was like, and I look up and it's Scott Rowland and his Popeye forearms and the whole deal. And I'm like, what in the heck is going on? They told me I was just here just in case. I've been here 10 minutes. I'm in the game.
That's awesome.
So and the best part of that, and I
ended up getting him out, and I was like, hey.
I was a JIC a couple of times too, on the position player side. But the greatest thing is it's not even about being around the guys because they don't give a shit about who you are. But you're like, at the end of the game, the travel secretary gives you $100, and you're like, dude, I'm actually going to eat some decent food
100%.
tonight.
I'm going to Chipotle right after this.
And not only am I going to eat good, I'm going to eat good the rest of the week.
I'm getting chips and guac.
Yeah, I'm getting the guac this time.
And that money might last me the whole week. I might have good meals the whole week.
It is no doubt the best part.
100%.
No doubt the best
So then in 2012, you go back to AA. And then shortly after that, you get called up to AAA. At this point, are you starting to allow your brain to kind of wander to the potential of getting called up? Or are you just still steadfast in your beliefs? Like, I'm just excited to be playing and I'm just on the next step of my journey.
Yeah, pretty much that. I was just,
what is wrong with you?
There's probably something wrong with me, but I was just pitching. I was just still having fun. I think part of it is I probably saw the big league light at the end of the tunnel. It happened a lot quicker than I thought it would. I saw it further down the line.
Yeah.
Right. So in my head, I was like, 3 or 4 years, I've got here, but it just happened a lot faster than that.
AAA was where at the time?
I was Albuquerque.
When you get to Albuquerque, do you have any sort of those 4A players that have like kind of take you under their wing, guys that have been in the big leagues? They're around. They're kind of like those guys you refer to, like they're following the stats. They're thinking they're the next guy in line. They're also potentially, because we ran into some good 4A players that were like, hey, kid, you're here. These are the things you need to bring on the road. You're a phone call away. Did you have any of those experiences?
They were all bitter.
They were all bitter?
They were just bitter.
AAA was that like that way for me too.
They were all guys who had been there, had pitched there. I think AA was kind of where like the younger like prospects were. When I got to AAA, it was very different. It was a very different environment. No, I didn't have anybody to really.
AAA was. I mean, AAA was. It was not fun for me either.
I didn't love it.
There was one guy, Dan Wheeler. He was like 3 months away from getting his 10 years, and he was there, and he was the one he helped me out. Everybody, a lot of the other bullpen guys, man, like they were not thrilled that I was there.
Yeah, I think AAA is the first level you get to where, you make the best of your situation, the lower minor leagues, and like you're a band of brothers because you're so far away, and it's like, hey, let's just have fun and try to win. And then you get to AAA and you're like, whoa, this is a kind of a business, right? Like this new kid who just walked in the door is now my competition. Yeah. We're on the same team. We're trying to win potentially. I don't even know if you're trying to win AAA all the time, but you're like, they see you as a threat. And I was fortunate. Not so. I guess I had a couple position players. I had Mike Nikias at the time, Josh Choley at the time, but I had Ricky Romero, Andy LaRoche too, that were like so good to me. When they didn't see me as a threat, maybe because we didn't play the same position, but they're like, "Hey kid, you're here.
Yeah.
Stay with me. These are the things you need to have now because you're a phone call away. Make sure when you go on the road, these are the things you have because it happens. You could get called up on the road. You don't want to be caught with your pants down. So it's interesting that you had kind of a different experience with that.
Yeah, I didn't really have any of that. It was fine. No, I didn't know any better. It was fine.
Yeah,
you don't know any better at the time, but you're like, man, I wish it could have been different. But you do end up getting that call. You make your big league debut.
Yeah, I think I got called up June 4th.
June
maybe
4th.
Debuted June 7th.
Yeah,
I was pitching in Round Rock and AAA. We were there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, the AAA manager kind of called me over during the national anthem of all times. And told me that I was gonna go to the big leagues. So Dodgers were playing in Philadelphia. So flew up there, ended up sitting, I can't remember if it was a 3 or 4 game series up there, but I pitched in the last game.
Okay.
So I was there for the first game, didn't get in. Every game was like a 2-run game. And
who were some of the guys in the bullpen at the time in 2012?
Yeah, so it's like Kenley Jansen. Let's see, 2012. Ronald Belisario, never forget him.
Scary guy.
Yeah. But the guy, when I got to the big leagues, there was one guy that took me under his wing. It was Jamie Wright.
Dude,
so
I have the legend of Jamie Wright.
I have heard unbelievable stories about that guy.
I played 17 years on 1-year deals.
On 1-year deals.
And so he was the guy. He was probably the only guy really that took me under his wing and like took care of me.
That's awesome.
So yeah, he's awesome. He's really awesome.
So what was it with the phone call? Is your wife still traveling with you in the minor leagues at the time? So was she there in Round Rock?
She's in Round Rock. She's in Round Rock, and my parents are also in Round Rock.
Because locally,
awesome. Yeah. So they were there, and So after the game,
so you didn't even leave the game.
I didn't even leave the game. I just.
He just told you that, hey, after the game you're gonna go up.
Are you trying to like wave him down in the stands like your wife like? We made it, or
I went to the clubhouse and called my wife and I said, "Hey, can you get away from my parents? I want to tell you something." And so I told her, and she's like, "Now you want me to keep that a secret for the rest of the game?" I said, "Yeah, keep it a secret." So after the game, we went to IHOP.
How awkward do you think that was for your wife? Have you ever asked her?
Don't worry, guys. I got it.
She's just sitting there, and then
I did.
And we all know our parents too. I wonder if your parents are like they're, because I know my parents, but they'd be sitting at the game with like my wife. And granted, I was a position player, so I played, but I could have just imagined your parents being like, I wonder if he's going to get in the game. And your wife's like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah, it was probably really awkward for her. It was probably really awkward.
Do you think he's going to pitch today?
But we did. We went to IHOP after the game. And the check came. And I was like, Dad, I got this. And he was like, you don't have to do that. And I was like, no, really, I got this. And that's kind of how I told him. But yeah, I went up to Philly and
did they get a chance to come too? Family came?
Yeah, they came.
And your wife?
So I didn't get in right away. So I think my parents flew up there, but they had to fly home before the last game.
Oh, that stinks.
So the last game's the one I got in. I think it was another close game. We ended up scoring in the 8th. So we had a 5-0 lead going into the 9th. So the phone rings and they're like, all right, Tolleson, you got the 9th. So they're going to put me in with a 5-run lead. And
first game in the big leagues.
And 9-hole was up. It was the pitcher spot was up.
Perfect.
In the order. So they pinch hit. I think it was Hector. Who was it? I don't remember who it was. They pinch hit somebody. And then it was top of their lineup was next, which I think was Jimmy Rollins still at the time, but
it's probably J-Roll and
then
Utley.
And then
Ryan.
And then Utley. Well, I only faced 2 guys.
Yeah, we know.
So
yeah, we know.
So I didn't get to the Utley.
Yeah. So yeah, you
faced 2 guys, walked both of them.
Yeah, 10 pitches, 8 balls.
They come get you.
Was that fun?
No. It was awful.
Was Mattingly the manager?
Mattingly was the manager. And remember, like I wasn't in big league spring training, so like I don't know any of these guys.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
I'd never met Mattingly before. And like I get there and like now I'm on this team of like dudes who I
never met.
I've watched. I haven't really hung out with them. I don't really know anybody. I finally get in the game. They hear about like, hey, Tolleson kid closing out games in the minor leagues. Like he's just dealt for 2 straight years. And then I get up there and just throw a bunch of balls. And yeah, I've thought a lot about that moment because it sucked. Like obviously Mattingly comes out. I thought he was going to keep me in. Like in my head,
like calm you down.
In my head, I'm like, dude, I've got this. Like, no big deal. So I walked a couple guys. Like that's happened before.
Were these
like,
close pitches? Were you just erratic?
That was all over the zone. I was all over the zone. They were just calling them balls. So it wasn't like I was like rattled. Yeah, I probably was a little bit, but I wasn't like just all over the place. But anyway, he comes out and just like puts out his hand, and I was like, no way.
Oh, you want the ball?
So I come off, and anyway, I think it was Belisario ends up coming out and getting a double play ball. We get out of the inning, we win. But after the game, that's when it was a little bit humiliating for me. Like embarrassing, humiliating. Like this was kind of my moment. I get out there and just walk a couple guys. So that was tough. There was a flight. I think the team was flying from Philadelphia to Seattle for the next series. And I just like, I know how it works. You bring a guy up, get him in the game. I figured like they were going to drop me off at the Southwest terminal, right? On the way to the airport. But I get ready, we were flying in suits back then. So I get my suit on and I'm just waiting
for the tap on your shoulder.
Just kind of waiting. And it doesn't happen in the clubhouse. And I'm like, that was weird. Okay. And then we get on the bus.
So now you're really thinking the bus is going to make a right-hand turn at Southwest.
Yeah. So we get on the bus, right? So, and I still am just kind of embarrassed, humiliated. Get on the bus and, there's like the staff bus and then the player bus. And, I'm kind of like, you don't want to be at the front of the bus. I don't want to be at the back of the bus. I'm just going to be right in the middle.
Yep.
Make sure I don't look at anybody. And Mattingly walks onto the player bus and he's coming right for me. And I was like, all right, I guess it's happening. And he comes over and he doesn't even sit down. He just like squeezes my shoulder and he goes, how's that arm, buddy? And I was like, threw 10 pitches, So I was like, feels
pretty
great.
Fresh.
Feels great. And he goes, good, you're pitching tomorrow. Just like that.
Dang.
And then he walks off the bus. And that was like a huge moment for me. Like a huge moment. Like he's just like, hey, buddy, that was tough to watch, but you're going to pitch tomorrow. And sure enough, I did. Right.
Dude, what an awesome move. What an awesome move. We had Buck Showalter on here and he talked about.
It's cool.
So I never got a chance to ever come across paths, with Mattingly, like personally, like played against him as when he was in the other dugout as a coach or a manager, but never interacted with him, right? But I've just heard so many amazing stories about his ability to create culture, his ability to just lead players. And Buck talked about how important he was for like the core four in New York. Mm-hmm. Like he was there and Buck talked about, he's like, man, without Mattingly being there for those, for Bernie and for all those guys, he's like, those guys don't become near the players they do without Mattingly. And like, that right there is a prime example of just his
Have you ever
ability to just
have you ever spent any time thinking about that moment? If it doesn't happen, what would happen to you? Like, cause that feels like a pretty like pivotal moment in your career because you're talking about probably the first time in your life almost being humiliated to be part of a team, to be in the big leagues, maybe undeserving, maybe unsure of himself. If he doesn't give you that kind of vote of confidence, like, hey kid, you belong here. And I know that was ugly to watch, but we believe in you, your body of work leading up to this, you earn the right to be here. Like ultimately my job is to win games. We wanted to win that game. Clean slate. You're getting in there tomorrow.
I've thought a lot about it. Yeah. There's no doubt that was really probably the most pivotal moment in my career, just to be able to start things off like that. And Mattingly like doesn't really know me. He just knows what I've done in the minor leagues, right? Doesn't really know me. And I don't really know him. And, as a reliever, like relievers and managers don't interact like position players, right? There's not a whole lot of interaction. And so like for the rest of my time in LA, like Mattingly and I weren't like super close. Like we didn't interact all the time. But that very first interaction was no doubt like very pivotal just to give me a boost of confidence, just to know that I have another chance, more than anything else, just to know I have another chance.
Because it can feel that way as a young player, that you feel like you have this entire life's work, even leading up to the minor leagues. And then you have this entire minor league career that you don't just play a handful of minor league games and they call you up. Like this is like years and years of stacking really good performances. Yep. And for a young player, it really feels like you get this opportunity and it's one opportunity. And if you don't make the best of it, you feel like, okay, this lifetime's worth of work. Like I ruined my one chance.
It was, it was such a cool moment. And right after Mattingly came over to me and said that to me, I pull out my phone, right? Because it's my big league debut. So like everyone in my phone book is texting me like, congrats, which I don't really feel like I don't feel like a congratulations, right? And I'm replying back. I'm just like, thanks, man. Thank you. Thanks. And then I get it as I'm on my phone, I get a text from my dad, and who wasn't there because he had to fly home. And it just says, give God the glory, is all it said. And it's the same text. Every time I pitched, my dad would send the exact same message. Like every time I pitched throughout all the minor leagues. And I almost always got everyone out in the minor leagues. Mm-hmm. Right. And so every time I would read that, I'd say, awesome. Like, like God, thank you so much.
Thanks for the performance.
Thanks for that. Yeah. Thanks that I K'd the side.
Yeah.
Right. And now it's like for one of the first moments ever, like he sends me the same message, but like my results on the field were not the same. And so, Mattingly giving me that vote of confidence and then getting that text from my dad, it just says, give God the glory. It really started to kind of shift my mindset, kind of my identity in baseball a little bit, gave me some perspective for sure.
Do you feel like going into that next game, so you get on the bird, you fly to Seattle, do you almost feel like the night before you're almost more anxious than your debut because he told you you're pitching?
Yeah.
So like it's almost like a start day. Like, okay, every fifth day I know I'm pitching. Like
you're flying from Philly to Seattle.
It's like a 6 hour
you got a
flight.
long time to think on that one.
I had a long time to think, and I thought about it too. I was like thinking about what I eat. Like this is my first big league flight.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's food and there's, you used to like open up the overhead bins, dude. And it's like candy bars and chips, dude, and like all this random disgusting
alcohol
stuff. But yeah. So, and I'm like debating. I'm like, well, no, I'm not going to have that. No, I'm going to eat this. I could probably have a cookie. I should probably have a cookie. I am pitching tomorrow. I'm going to have a cookie. And so I'm thinking about all these things.
6 hours worth of cookies.
For sure. But yeah.
So you go out, so you get another shot. You go out against Seattle and you pitch really well.
I think I pitched all right.
Yeah. You had
but
two strikeouts.
I got some outs. Two
strikeouts.
That was the big thing.
Couple punch outs. Who was your first big league punch out?
Mike Carp.
Okay. Yeah. Red Sox.
Mike Carp. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then that kind of season goes on. I pitch. I hold my own when I'm in there. I wouldn't say I wasn't lights out.
Yeah.
I held my own. I think probably that season I get optioned like 6 times that season.
Jeez.
But never go back to the minor leagues. It was one of those roster things. So they'd option me. They'd say, hey, we're sending you down, go to a hotel room, hang out for the next day. We're going to call you back tomorrow. So that happened like 6 different times that season. There was one time that season where they said, hey, we're sending you down. You're really going down this time. Not because of anything you did. It's just how things are shaking out. And so I leave and then I come back. Like I land and I've got a voicemail from travel secretary. He's like, somebody showed up hurt today. You're coming right back. So I get on a flight to go right back to, I think they were in St. Louis? I think it was St. Louis, but I can't, like, I'm still new to the big leagues. Like I haven't been to these stadiums yet. I don't know where player entrances are. And I'm in a taxi cab
all the time.
And my phone's dead and we're like circling the stadium. And I'm like, where's the player entrance? I don't know. So I just say like, get out. The game's already started.
No way.
And they're like, we need you.
In St. Louis?
Yeah.
It's not packed.
No, but the game's already started. So I'm like walking around with my bag, wearing my suit, like trying to figure out how to get into the stadium. Anyway, I finally get in there. And travel secretary comes to the clubhouse. He's like, hey. And I'm like, what does this mean? He's like, just get dressed. Like you're going to get in this game. Get out there. And so normally you would wait. Like I get out to the dugout and you would wait till like the third out happens on the field to like run out. And Mattingly's like, hey, after the next out, I need you to sprint down to the bullpen. And I'm like, all right. So next out comes on. I think I'm running right past Carlos Beltran. And he's looking at me like, what's this kid doing? So I get down to the bullpen and the guys in the pen will not open the gate. Like they're like pulling it closed. So that I'm like delaying the game and they're pulling it closed. They're pulling it closed. Fans are yelling at me. I think it's the only time I've ever been on Sports Center. It was for not top 10 because I'm like locked out of the bullpen. But
did you end up pitching that game?
Yeah, I ended up pitching. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome, dude. So you end up having you guys just said you get an option a bunch, but you end up pitching pretty well for a very, Dodgers always have a veteran club, you know? So you pitch pretty well. 2013 comes around. When did you hurt your back? Was that 13?
Yeah, 13 comes around. I do go to big league spring training that year, throw really well. Dodgers had signed Brandon League to like a 2-year deal. And so they start me out in AAA. So Brandon kind of took my spot in the bullpen and start the year in AAA. Get to AAA. I don't know. I was there for like a week or two. Pitched good. I get called back up because Zach Greinke tackles Carlos Quentin.
That's right. And he broke his collarbone.
Yeah. So as soon as that happened, they called me up to take a roster spot. And I'd closed out a game in Albuquerque, pitched 2 innings. We get on a plane from Albuquerque and fly to Omaha, Nebraska, get on a bus in Omaha, Nebraska, bus to Des Moines, Iowa. I get to the hotel room at like 4 or 5 in the morning, lay my head down at like 5:30 in the morning. Travel secretary calls me and says, hey, we need you in Phoenix tomorrow. It's a day game. And so like, I don't sleep. Yeah. I pitch 2 innings and then I don't sleep so that I go straight to the airport in Des Moines, connect in Dallas, get to Phoenix for a day game. And like the game, again, I get there, the game's already started. It's just another one of those weird situations in baseball, like things that I think today they actually think about. And they're like, hey, he threw 2 innings yesterday. Or like, hey, he hasn't slept yet. Yeah. I think they're just kind of, you
were the guy they wanted, man.
They didn't look at it. Right. And so anyway, I show up to the game as the game's going in Phoenix and Kershaw's pitching. And I think it's a 1-run game in the 8th. And the bullpen must have been dry or something because I go into the game. Bases loaded, 1-1 game in the 8th. And I pitched yesterday, hadn't slept, and I go into the game and to face Goldschmidt. And I hit him.
Okay.
And my back gives out.
Ooh.
Like on that pitch. And I'm like, so I come right out of the game. And so that's kind of when I hurt my back is that. And, you know, it's not so coincidental that happens after a travel day like that. But
you end up having surgery that year. So you had a herniated disc, back surgery. Are you out the remainder of the year that year?
Yeah, rest of the year.
What's a rehab process for that? Like, that's a pretty significant surgery.
Yeah, it's just hard because your back affects everything. So
like, how long are you like no baseball activity? Is that like because I know Tommy John, they say it's like 12 months. What's a back surgery?
4 to 6 months.
4 to 6 months.
4 to 6 months. I started I had surgery. I had a difficult time getting around, but like I remember showing up to the clubhouse for the first time after surgery, and like I tried to go to the bathroom in the stall and like fainted.
Really?
Because I just couldn't like get comfortable because it just like hurts, and so like I'm like trainers like find me like passed out in the bathroom, So it was an odd injury, and you feel a little bit like puny and helpless. Especially on a team like I still was like in this. I didn't belong. It was not like I was a solidified team member yet.
Yeah.
And so it's never fun to be long-term disabled list, and not really able to contribute. So it's not a lot of fun.
So you play out. I mean, you're DL the rest of that year. You're rehabbing the rest of 2013.
Yeah.
When do they DFA you that off season?
Yeah.
They DFA'd you that off season. What was that conversation like? Because there's obviously for most guys, it's the team that drafted you.
Yeah.
Right. Like we all, some guys don't feel this way, but I mean, I went to Anaheim. I played for some other teams after, but man, the team that drafted me, Cleveland, granted I was there a long time, but everybody there, right? The minor league staff, everybody. What's that conversation like when they DFA you? Is it a quick off-season phone call? Is it, do you sense it coming?
I don't even remember getting called.
No?
Yeah.
Because it's an off-season thing.
Yeah, I don't remember ever getting a phone call. I think the end of that season, I was rehabbing. I was throwing again. I was supposed to go play in the fall league. I think that was going to be kind of like their determination of like, does he still have it or not? Can he still do it? I was getting ready for the fall league and ended up like hurting my hip. It's just like I'm sure it was related to the back stuff, but it ended up hurting my hip. So I had to withdraw from the fall league. And I think that was kind of like all right, that's probably it. I started doing rehab at Meister's place, Dr. Meister's place. And so I was doing back rehab and seeing him and just like asking him like, hey, am I good? Like, can I pitch? And he's like, yeah, you're totally fine. You're going to be great. Yeah. And then Rangers claimed me off waivers or whatever. So, I'm sure that had something to do with it. Just the fact that I was, seeing him on a daily basis too.
Was it a big league waiver claim or was it a 40-man claim? Like, were you out of minor league options?
I don't think I was out of them.
You don't think you were out of them?
Yeah, it wasn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, because, like when you get claimed by another team, it's like, I'm getting claimed and I know I'm going to the big leagues, or I'm getting claimed and I could be going to, it wasn't that?
Yeah,
okay.
It was not that. Yeah.
So this was 2014, right?
Yeah, this would have been like off season 2013 or 14. I'm not sure.
Was Bannister the manager in 2014?
Ron Washington was still the manager.
He was still the manager.
Of the Rangers. So yeah, go to spring training with the Rangers that year, throw really well.
Okay.
Just like last day of exhibition games, they tell me I make the team. So it's kind of a long shot thing. They tell me I make the team.
Who's the pitching coach for the Rangers?
As Mike Maddox. Yeah. So, but yeah, Wash is the manager. He was the manager until, I don't know, halfway through that season.
Okay.
And then he was out. And then that's when, I guess then we had like an interim manager, then Bannister the next season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cause you took over the closer's role pretty quick there. Were you closing games by the end of 14?
No. So we still had, Neftali Feliz was still there.
So he wasn't starting yet. They had the starting pitcher experiment had already happened. So he was back in the bullpen.
There was a couple other guys who would step in and close. I was just kind of
who else was in the bullpen that year?
In 14.
Was Jake Diekman there yet?
No.
He was a trade. He was a trade acquisition.
That was in 15. That was like the Cole Hamels stuff.
Oh, that's
15.
right. Yeah, that's right. Because he came over from Philly.
Yeah, and I didn't close in 15 until probably June, some point in June.
In 15?
In 15. So Feliz was the closer. He had this weird, like ingrown hair in his armpit one day. He shows up to the field and he comes up to me. He's like, Tolly. He's like, I don't think I can do it today. And I was like, do what? He's like, I don't think I can close today. He's like, I got this. And he like showed me and I was like, ooh. And he was like, can you do it? And I was like, yeah, I can do it. And so that's really how it happened.
No way.
He asked me if I would close that day because he couldn't do it. And we went in there and talked to Bannister about it. And Bannister was like, that's fine. And then I did it. I did
got
well.
the ball
and
that day?
And then I got the ball that day and then just kept doing it.
That's awesome. Because then the next year you ended up dealing. You saved 35 games in 2015 for a Texas club that is really good. Because 2014 you guys were not good. 2014
Not
you guys
good.
lost 95
and we
games.
weren't good. We weren't good in 15. The first
Well, you
half
guys
of the
ended
year.
up winning. I mean, you guys won the West on the last day of the season.
Yeah.
So, and you guys had a crazy push there at the end. You know, you trade for Cole, you get Diekman. You guys got a pretty good team. You've got, I mean, going around the infield, you know, obviously like Adrian Beltre is just an absolute monster. Elvis is there. Rugi is playing second base. Is Mitch playing first base? And then Nomar Mazzara is in the outfield. Really talented player. Is Delino DeShields y'all's center fielder?
Yeah, he's there.
But y'all pitched, man. Y'all were really good. You had Darvish. Or wait, Darvish was hurt. He was hurt in 15.
Cole Hamels,
Martin Perez, Derek Holland. So I mean, you guys play well. You win the West on the last day of the season against a really good Angels team. You're the anchor for this bullpen that's pitching really, really well. And you guys go into a playoff series against who'd they play?
Toronto, I think.
You know how that season, before we get into that, you know how that season ended? You call me the anchor of that bullpen, but I pitched really well that season, but we needed like one win to win the West.
Yeah.
And we had like 5 games left. And you know who closed those 4 losses leading up to the last game was me.
Okay.
I could not.
Did you blow saves, or was it just like not save?
Could not get it done.
You couldn't get it done.
Couldn't get it done. I pitched 5 days in a row. I think I'm the last guy that's pitched 5 days in a row. My own doing. I was like, yeah, give me the ball. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, I got it. Right. Because you want to overcome like the previous day's failure.
You want to be the guy out there
you want to be the guy.
Yeah.
You want to be the guy. But I kind of the hidden backstory behind the end of that 2015 regular season is that, so that morning, we got 5 games left, need to win 1. That morning, my dad, who I've talked a little bit about on this podcast already, but like, calls me over to the house. I live close to him, calls me over to the house, and he just says, hey, I've got some bad news. I've been diagnosed with 2 types of stage 4 cancer, and the doctors are giving me about 3 months to live.
Jesus.
Okay. So like that happens that morning. And obviously we have a long conversation with him and a long time of prayer for him. And then I get in my car and I drive, 45 miles to the ballpark, and I'm just processing. But these are like the little things, like, as a player with teammates, like we know this stuff happens, but like you don't always know it or hear about it. And I don't know that there wasn't a real process for like, okay, now I'm going to show up to the ballpark and do what I always do. Should I tell somebody? Should I not tell somebody? We just need one more win. Should we just get this win? And so I show up just like I always show up. Don't tell anybody about it. But just kind of try to mind over matter it, but obviously don't. And so, like I get the ball 4 days in a row. Bannister's like, hey, you good today? I'm like, yeah, I got it. I got you. I got it. And I don't get the job done. And, obviously then we went on the last day of the season, and, I think I was able to tell somebody after that. But
who closed out the last day of the season?
I think Cole Hamels threw a complete game.
Jeez.
Thank goodness.
Of course you did.
I was like, because before that game, he was like, hey, if I need you. And I was like, absolutely. 6 in a row. Let's go. I got you. Right. But like I was praying down there, like, please don't put me in for this.
I mean, you pitched your tail off that year. 35 saves, 2.90 ERA. I mean, you pitched extremely well. But man, I can't imagine trying to perform in a situation like that, bearing that. And obviously too, like you hadn't told anybody.
Yeah.
So how did that conversation, like when you finally did like open up, like, hey, this is kind of what's going on, like, I guess, who did you tell and what was the conversation like?
Yeah. I mean, first person I told was Tony Beasley. He was the third base coach.
Oh, yeah.
Great human.
Yeah.
Great human. To me, he was just like, he was the most approachable with something like that.
Yeah.
So he was the first guy I told. And then obviously I told, pitching coach, and
was Doug Brocale the pitching coach that year?
He was the pitching coach in 16.
16.
So, but yeah, it was a kind of a hard conversation to have. Obviously, like, it doesn't change the fact that now we're going into a playoff series and need to do that. So yeah, we draw Toronto for the playoff series. We go up to Toronto, and Bannister calls me into his office. He calls me and Sam Dyson. Remember Sam Dyson?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he calls me and Sam Dyson into the office, and he says, "Hey, Tolley, you've done a great job for us this season. Dyson's going to close for us from now on." And I was like,
How did you feel about that?
okay. I was pretty irritated.
Yeah.
I was pretty irritated.
Did he give you a reason?
I mean, it was literally like he thought I was just gassed, and I hadn't pitched well in 4 days.
Was Sam a trade acquisition that year?
Yeah, he was. And he was, and to his credit, he was like dealing. He was pitching way better than I was.
It's kind of like a shiny new toy.
But yeah, that was an interesting conversation. But we went into that, and so we won the first two.
Mm-hmm.
Won the first two in Toronto. We go to Texas, need a win, lose them both in Texas, and then Game 5.
Yeah,
back in Toronto.
And I mean, you pitched really well in that series. I mean, you threw that one long extra inning game. You threw 2 innings, 11 and 12. I mean, you were clean, right? Like, so you've obviously bounced back. I know you said you struggled down the stretch trying to get that last one.
Yeah.
But you threw 3 really clean innings. You're throwing great. And it's really interesting to hear that story about, hey, Dyson's our guy now.
Yeah.
Because, I think we've talked about this moment before on this show, and it's one of the more iconic moments for probably both franchises.
And there wasn't really a need for the bullpen in that game until there was a need for it, because Cole was so good that game. He was cruising to the 7th inning. He didn't deserve to be in the situation with bases loaded, no outs, the 3 consecutive errors. Was there a time when that was going on? Were you thinking it could be you going into the game? Were you preparing to come in?
Yeah.
Were you guys using pockets at that time? Like Dyson knew he was going to get this pocket of the lineup, or was Dyson still the closer? Because this is the 7th inning, where they just felt like this was the game.
It was sort of at this point, it's a must win. At this point in the season, I think I'm probably 3rd in line. So I think there's Diekman and Dyson ahead of me, and then I'm probably 3rd in line. So once the game gets to the 7th, maybe I come in. But likely what I saw was Diekman's coming in. If he gets to a righty they want me to face, I'll probably come in and see that righty, and then Dyson will close it out if we get to that point. But yeah, it's once Bautista hit the home run, that the environment it was
rowdy.
It was rowdy. So, once that happened, we couldn't go in the bullpen. Like we couldn't even get in there. I couldn't warm up in the bullpen because like cans and stuff's getting thrown at you, splashed on you, poured on you. So we go, clubhouse manager brings us our tennis shoes, and we strap on tennis shoes and we throw on the concrete concourse. That's how, so like I'm warming up to try to go into this game, and they're throwing with tennis shoes.
Did you end up going to the game?
No. Ended up not going into that game.
Who pitched after Dyson did? Do you remember?
I don't even remember.
I'm sure it was probably Diekman or.
It was probably Diekman. I'm trying to remember what the score was when he came out, but
it was 4-2, I believe. It was 4-2.
It was probably Diekman that came in.
Dude, but I mean, that was a bomb.
Yeah, we had Cole in here. He was our very first episode we launched.
Oh, nice.
What do you remember about? What do you remember about that moment? Like the craziness of the home run? It's always cool to hear the other side because obviously I have my perspective. But then what was it kind of like after that final out's recorded and you go into the clubhouse? What's that kind of moment like? You know, being one game away from winning, being a couple outs away from winning, you know, everything that you guys kind of overcame as a team that year, you know, going down the stretch, having to win the final game, going up 2 games, losing 2 at home, still being in a position to win. You're part of kind of an iconic moment in baseball history, at least, you know, from the Toronto side. What's that like?
It was nauseating.
Yeah.
Yeah. It hurt. It hurt to be that close. That's my first and only time playing in the playoffs in the postseason. So, yeah, it kind of made me sick. And I'd say most of us felt the exact same way. The travel day home, it was kind of interesting.
That's got to be a weird feeling, like, because you lose on the road, season's over. You know, you lose in a fashion like that, and now you got to get the team home.
Did you guys have the same after you lost the World Series?
No, we lost in Cleveland.
Oh, because you lost at home. Yeah,
I mean,
I also know what it's like to be on the road.
Yeah,
and
every
lose,
playoff series we ever
and then
lost,
you're just
we lost
like,
at home.
you talk about one of the coolest parts about being in the big league is the way that you travel and the bonding and the fun that you have when you're traveling and throughout the regular season and even to some degree in the playoffs when you lose a game, like you try to do your best of making it normal. Like, okay, game's over. We lost, whether it's a playoff game, whether it's a regular season game, we're getting on the bird. Hey, let's do what we always do. Let's have some drinks. Let's play some cards. Let's have fun, play the music, right? The only time in my life I remember going home after losing playoff games, the series is over, being on the road, traveling home. It is like you just sit in your seat. And at that time, you're traveling with your family. So you're like next to your wife or your kids and stuff. And like, no one says anything. You just sit there and you just like kind of reflect on what could have been, what just happened. It's a really weird, strange feeling.
It's not a fun feeling. It's not a fun feeling. Kind of reminded me of like when you're riding on the school bus back from your last high school game that you lost and like, it's just kind of silent. It was kind of like that.
Yeah.
It was just very silent. Everybody, we were just surprised. Everyone was just surprised.
Yeah.
We
You're up 2-0.
We sort of just assumed we were going to win.
Yeah. And especially you're up 2-0 going home.
Yeah.
You're up 2-0 going home. You're like,
have you
we got it.
Ever allowed your brain to wander to the previous conversation that you had with Bannister?
Yeah.
That you were no longer closing. So therefore you were not the highest leveraged bullpen guy. Do you ever let your brain wander? If that conversation didn't happen, would it have been you in that situation?
Thought about it. Yeah, I've thought about it.
And I mean, it's okay to think about that because that's the competitor in you. Like,
sure,
these are the moments that you dream of as a kid, to be in these highest leverage situations. Yeah, if someone asked me, do you wish that it was you who was standing at home plate? Hell yeah, I wish it was me, you know? But like, it doesn't take away from the fact that I'm extremely grateful and proud that it was Jose in that moment. But like, as a competitor, it's okay to be a little bit selfish, to be like, man, I wish it was me in that situation.
Yeah. I do wish I had the ball in that situation.
Yeah.
The outcome could have been exactly the same. Could have been. And I could have been the one who's replayed on highlight reels all the time. Right. So the outcome might not have changed, but it doesn't change the fact that I kind of wish I had been out there.
Yeah.
I also think that if I were the manager, I think I would have given it to Dyson. Like he was the guy to give the ball to.
He was really good.
He was the guy to give it to. He was pitching insane.
Yeah, those two. I remember that year when you guys went and got Diekman and Dyson at the deadline. Those two adds to a bullpen were really good because both those guys were nasty.
Yeah,
they were really good, and they complement each other so well.
I think when you think about the least likely of scenarios with Sam Dyson pitching, with the stuff that he possessed, with the way that he was cruising, was definitely not the ball being hit in the air. Like he was
No.
like near impossible to get off the ground, right?
Yeah,
You're thinking double play, ground ball, like worst case scenario, Jose turns on one, he hits one in the 6 hole, and maybe a 1-run game, or maybe this moment that me as a player I'm celebrating because it allowed us to take the lead and ultimately win the series. But to have like this franchise altering moment to be part of this iconic moment in history was not on anyone's bingo card. And I think even as a player who had just come back to the dugout, because I think what people forget in that moment too is he was facing the best player in baseball the guy before, in Josh Donaldson.
Yeah.
And he got him 2-0 and threw him a sinker. Like JD knew a sinker was coming, right? And he got fisted so bad that he blew this ball right over Odor's head, who misplayed the ball. It landed. I was able to and I'll never forget that moment. Like I prided myself on like being a very fundamentally sound player. Like I knew.
Where were you at when that happened?
I was on third base.
Okay.
And the bases were loaded. So like all these kind of scenarios are going through my head. Like I know he's going to catch it, so I can't like tag up. Do I stay halfway? As he's starting to backpedal, it could also be an infield fly. So all these things are going. And then I think I was like not halfway. I was off the base. As he started to catch it, I think I tagged, it dropped. And I just remember sprinting home, and he got a force out at second base. And then at the very least, we felt like clean slate. Mm-hmm. Everything that happened in that inning prior, whoever was meant to win was supposed to win, because if obviously you remember because you were there, but that's when Russ threw the bat off Chu's bat and Odor smartly ran home, scored, and we're like, Gibby's coming out, we're protesting. Like no one really knew the rule. And it's crazy that you could play your entire life and something happens in like the most pivotal moment of a game and you don't even know the rule. I didn't know the rule. I'm thinking from the outfield, like, no. That's not a rule. Like, that's not a thing. Like, there's a rule. There's got to be a rule in this long rule book that says, like, inadvertent throw off a bat can't allow a runner to score, right? So, just a wild time in my life, man.
It was a crazy game. One of the craziest that's ever been played.
Speaking of crazy, though, were you there the following year when everything kind of transpired with, the Brawl?
Yeah. Yeah, I was there watching you go crazy.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I asked Cole, and Cole's going to have a different perspective on it, obviously being a starting pitcher. Yeah. And we know kind of, not that there's this huge disconnect between starters and bullpen guys, but like y'all do your meetings differently. Like the starters have their meetings, the bullpen have their meetings.
Sure, it's different.
There's an overlap. There's a connectivity between it, but like you would have a different perspective of like, what the conversation potentially was, maybe even going into spring training. Like you had to have had Toronto circled on your schedule, going into that season. So kind of take me through, when or who decided that this is our time, we're getting them back.
Yeah. I mean,
if you can say.
Yeah, I would say it's no doubt there were conversations about it and there was this hype going into the series. I'm sure you guys could feel the same way. We knew there was something that was going to happen.
And not to mention, you guys were the best team in baseball that year, right?
2016.
It wasn't like the 15 season happened and whatever happened. Yeah. It was like, we were still really good. We weren't as good as you guys. We actually played in the wild card game that year, but you guys just hit the ground running and were like a freight train run away. So like, we knew that time when we played you in Texas, like, y'all were really, really good.
We knew something was going to happen. Obviously, I was in the bullpen. I was in the bullpen whenever Jose slid in the second. And, as a slow guy down in the bullpen, you're not the first one out there. But, we get out there. You're the first person that I can see or get to. And all I remember about you is like, I remember thinking like, man, this guy can jump pretty high because you were just jumping. But
who was who'd you grab? Which coach did you grab?
Ortiz. What was his name? Ortiz.
Hector
Ortiz. Yeah. So I went out there. It happened. Saw him get hit, run out of the dugout, seeing red, want a piece of Odor, come in a little bit too fast. Have to kind of make this awkward because I think this is my power hand, with the punch, right? I want to throw it right, but I come in like this way. So I have like this awkward thing and I throw like this aggressive, awkward punch, right? But I miss. And the next thing you know, I'm in a Mitch Moreland bear hug. And I'm like, this is a big, strong country dude. Like I'm still kind of a boy at this time, right? I'm like, that's a man. Like he had me, but like my adrenaline was so high, I like shake it off. And I'm like, F this. Next person I see, I'm drilling, right? And I turn, I grab a jersey, and I'll never forget it. I like go back to punch, and I see Ortiz, fairly old at the time, probably in his 60s, right? And he like looks at me like he sees the devil, right? And I'm like, and then that's kind of where it ended. It was like it was over. Like
it did kind of.
I missed my shot. I missed my shot. I do remember one of our bullpen catchers. He was crazy too, man. But there was like this big kind of scrum on the ground, a bunch of players. There's like a dog pile. I think Dyson was like at the bottom of it. And he like weaseled in there, got a couple shots in. Dyson's coming out like with a bloody lip and stuff.
He was just determined to get in there.
Yeah.
Dyson?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was determined. He was going to crawl under there if he had to.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. He was determined to get in there.
Man, because I remember being not there. You know, I don't know if we were in Cleveland or wherever, but it was everywhere.
Yeah.
Like that stuff was everywhere.
Hold on. Did you ever kind of feel, you're a good human being, you're a godly man. Did you ever feel like potentially the team, and I don't know if it was predetermined, but do you feel like having Matt Bush with everything that he had gone through in his career is probably not the right guy to do it? Or he was just crazy enough and threw hard where it was like, okay, whatever. Or have you ever even thought about it?
Never thought about
Okay.
it. I see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I think it's a valid point.
But he was throwing absolute pellets.
He was throwing
laser.
fuzz. He threw
it really hard.
From that standpoint, he was the guy.
He was the perfect guy.
He was the guy. When you look at his whole, his past, maybe not. Like,
but I mean, too, you think about it, like, he's also a guy that, I don't know Jose, but when he looks out there, he's probably not going to get Bush.
No, probably not.
He's probably not going to get Bush.
Probably a fair assessment.
Yeah, like
yeah, but also like Bush wasn't there the year before. Like he didn't.
Yeah.
He like, I hate to say it, but like, Dyson gets it.
Yeah.
Like Dyson feels something, or Diekman or me, or like we have this like feeling of just like, man, Bush didn't have it. So maybe from that standpoint, he was kind of the guy, right? He didn't have this like
emotional,
this what if that he had been holding on to for so long.
Do you remember when Hunter Strickland plunked Harper?
Yeah.
Like that was another real like big guy, but that'd have been like the equation, or that'd have been like equal to Dyson hitting Jose, right? Like he hit him, the same guy who clipped you,
right.
Like kind of thing.
Yeah. I don't know if you know the ins and outs of that story, but I got a chance to play with Hunter Strickland in Anaheim, and
he's a big dude.
Talk about also another person that you get older and you feel like you're supposed to be this man, right? But then you come across a guy like Hunter Strickland, you're like, no, that's what a man looks like. That's a physical. He's like a caveman, right? Like
boy.
You talk about country strong, like that's a country strong human being, right? Great human being. And as I got to be his teammate, I finally, it took me a couple months, and I was like, we became like really good friends. And I just asked him, I was like, so what was up with you hitting Harper? And he told me that was like there was like 5 years in between. That was the first time he had faced him. You talk about holding on to kind of this anger and resentment, but Harper, I think, clipped him twice in the postseason that year, and he hadn't faced him for 5 years. And he had this, he just knew in his mind, he's like, next time I face him, I'm drilling him, and whatever happens, happens. And that was like a 5-year period. It was kind of crazy. And obviously Harper never forgot. They didn't. And then I honestly, I don't know how you feel about this. I'm super pro letting it happen in baseball, right? Like I know it's probably not the best example we set for our kids and stuff, but like they do it in hockey. I just feel like there's certain things, especially maybe this is me from a position player standpoint, and it hasn't really happened to me a ton in my career because I wasn't the guy, but there's certain times you get drilled and you feel like there's intent behind it, but there's really nothing you can do about it, right? And even in that moment for Jose, like Jose had a moment where he got hit. He knew that it was on purpose. We knew it was our last time facing him. He had a choice to make. He could have gone out there, didn't choose it. The only other thing he could have done is what he did. And he kind of had like a dirty slide in the second base. Like that was his way of kind of getting his revenge, right? I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I feel like
his revenge didn't last long.
No, it did not. It did not last long. But I do feel like, didn't we just recently have one in the game? Someone charged him out. Oh, the Soler fight.
Oh,
right?
yeah. That
When
dude. Could you
think,
imagine having that guy coming after you? That dude is a monster.
But like, think about too, in more recent history, like
I'd be
when
shooting low.
Framber hit Trevor Story.
Yeah.
You know, you get hit like.
Yeah.
He just got suspended 5 games.
I know, but like as a player, you know that's on purpose, but there's really nothing
Can't
you
do
can do
anything
about
about
it, right?
it. Yeah.
I feel like there's a place for it to be allowed.
You ever had the mound charged on you?
Mm-mm. I mean, 9th inning guy, that's like a very, it's never really the moment for it.
No, never in pro ball. Only time in my entire life was pitching high school Team USA.
Really?
Yeah, I hit this Cuban and the dude came after me. But it's a weird.
Was he bigger than you?
It's a weird feeling because I just wasn't. Yeah, he was way bigger. He was 40.
The 40-year-old on the 18U team.
Do you remember? Oh man, here's another great one. And I'm gonna spell this out and let me know what you think. But Rick Porcello is like 20 years old at the time. He hits Kevin Youkilis, and Uke charges the mound. And Porcello, who's with Detroit at the time, is like kind of running away because he's like, what? Like he clearly did not hit this guy on purpose. Like a sinker like got away from him. It hits him, and he's like looking up like this, and then he just looks up back like this, and Uke is right there. And so he immediately is like, going back. If you as a position player get hit, because the reason you're going out there is because you think the guy hit you on purpose. And say you're like halfway there and you see like the pitcher's like, man, maybe he didn't hit me. Like as you're really kind of at a point of no return, but at the whole time you're like, you got to be knowing like, man, this guy didn't. There was no intent there.
Well, I'm not the biggest hockey fan. Like I don't follow it religiously, but I know a lot of people that are hockey fans and I've had a chance to interact with a lot of hockey players. I think something that is maybe not well known as much as it is, but like those guys just don't like one guy doesn't like initiate the fight and just beats the other guy up. Like it's a mutual respect. Like, hey, we're fighting. Do you agree to the fight? And they say yes. And then the two guys try to kill each other. I think there's a way like in baseball, you do it like you did it on purpose. I'm coming after you. Do you agree? Then you do it. But like, there's got to be an awkward moment where like the pitcher's like, no, wait, I didn't do it. I'm like, stop. Right?
I think if the pitcher if you hit a guy,
he drops the glove. It's fair.
And if he drops the glove, that's like, okay, let's go.
Agree. I agree with that. Yeah. Right. I also think there's an element of like, if you don't try to hit somebody, it's okay for you to want them to think that you did. If that makes sense. Like I very rarely have I ever thrown at anybody. I've hit a lot of people. Yeah. Right.
But you might mentally want them to think.
But I'm like, hey, yeah, just get the ball back. And in their head, they're like, would he have hit me? Why would he have hit me? Was that from 2 years ago? Like, and they start just like thinking about like, did he or did he not?
Do you remember Hansel Robles?
Yeah. That's a crazy man.
Pellets, right? Mm-hmm. You remember Cameron Rupp?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Big dude. Really big guy. Robles plunks him. And this is, I think there might have been like somebody got hit earlier in the game. I played with Robles in Anaheim and he's borderline crazy. And he hits Rupp like up here. And Rupp like looks at him like basically he's kind of like, are you serious? And Robles like drops his glove and he goes like this, like psychopath. I'm like, dude, Rupp he's 3 times your size. And he's just like this. And Rupp like clearly is like, he's looking out. And I think now he's second guessing, like, I ain't going out there. That guy's crazy. Yeah. But I remember asking Robles, I'm like, did you hit him on purpose? And he was like, no, it got away from me. But I'm thinking about like the impact of his doing this, let the league know, like,
he's crazy.
Don't dig in. That guy's a psychopath. Yeah, no doubt. And he just uncorked 100 at this guy's neck. And he did it totally unprovoked, and he clearly did it on purpose. But Rob was like, no, I didn't throw at him. It just got away from me. But as soon as he stared at me, like I wanted him to think that I was throwing at him. So that is a really good point. And I bet you, we were just talking to Bobby Witt Sr. about playing with Nolan Ryan, and he talked about like the best pitch in baseball is the bow tie. Like the bow tie. And I'm sure he threw plenty of unintentional bow ties that
the
hitters were like, oh, dude, like, they're like I am not digging in. Like, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's gamesmanship, I guess.
So tell us a little bit to end of your career. You had your second Tommy John.
Yeah.
How difficult was that, to have gone through it, at such a young age in high school, to you also had the back injury, the surgery, to pitch in the postseason, to get removed from the closer role, to have some success, to then have to like overcome another obstacle in your career. What was that like, at that point of your life?
Yeah, it was, again, it happened, and I 100% believed that I had more innings in me after that. And I really never did, but I believe that I did. It happened. And at this point in my life, I guess we've got 2 kiddos. And like life, when you have kids in pro ball, like your life starts to change a little bit. You start thinking about things a little bit differently. Just spring training, everything gets a little more complicated. You start renting houses, right? And so things get a little bit different, get a little bit harder, but, I rehabbed the heck out of that Tommy John. 2 years. I rehabbed it. I signed back with Texas, on minor league deals.
Did you do the rehab here with my?
I did the rehab here. I was with Tampa Bay when I had the TJ. I was with Tampa Bay. That didn't go super well there. Just whatever. It didn't go great. But I signed back with Texas. Texas was like, "Hey, we'll give you a 2-year minor league deal, just to rehab with us."
It's awesome.
Super awesome. And man, I did. I rehabbed the heck out of it. It just hurt. It just hurt. I started throwing bullpens again. And it hurt, but again, like where you go back to where it hurt, but it would like hurt, and I'd be like, but I can do it.
Yeah.
And I think I will. I think I still want to, even though it hurts. I think it's still worth it for me to like go out there and do this if I can get outs. But man, it was about 2 weeks before I was heading out to spring training with Texas, and I'm throwing a bullpen, and I just feel something again in there. And it was going to be another like 4 to 6 month type. It was like a flexor thing. It was going to be 4 to 6 months. And that's when I was kind of like, all right.
What year is this? 2018?
This is 19.
19?
Yeah, this is 19. So that's when I made the decision. It was right before spring training. I was like, I'm not going to go out there. I called John Daniels, and I just said, hey, by the way, I'm immensely grateful for you. Here's what just happened. I was throwing a bullpen. They're saying 4 to 6 months. What does that look like? Like, what do you think that looks like for me? Like 4 to 6 months from now, do you see me here? Do you see me? Do you still want me? And he's like, man, I think you should stay home. And I said, I appreciate the honesty.
Yeah.
I think that's what I'll do.
Do you feel like, even though that's difficult news to hear, because you talked about being so good in your career, being where your feet are at and not really thinking about the next steps and just being present, getting that news is probably not easy to hear, but you can definitely appreciate the honesty.
Totally. I definitely appreciate the honesty.
Because I don't feel like in the game, and I played on 10 different teams, at the end of the day, when you are an athlete, when you're a professional, more so when you're a man, all you want to be told is the truth, right?
Yeah.
You just want to be guided in the right direction and be told what they at least can perceive as the truth, right? It would have been very easy for him to be like, hey, Tolle, you know what? Rehab, we'll see where you're at. When you get healthy, you got a chance to compete for a team. The fact that he was just like, I don't see it for you, had to be hard to hear, but also very refreshing, because he could have very easily led you down this path of almost insanity, trying to rehab it again and go through the grind when you got a young family at home and you've been through so much in your career. And, everything that you shared with us in this, this episode, you were just really good at being grounded where you're at. And you're like, I know this sucks, but God's got a plan. Yeah. I'm going to follow that plan. Yeah. It's not the easy road, but I've been through a lot of difficult times. This is just another one. And this is how it's supposed to go down. This is how it's supposed to go down. And you probably crazily would have continued to rehab and just gone down that road and stayed super optimistic that there's light at the end of this tunnel, that there's this external factor waiting for me, that I'm self-motivated at this point. I can do it. But you also knew what was kind of out there. The fact that he kind of removed that from you, you have to be forever thankful for that.
I'm thankful for that. He was definitely, I think anytime when you get into the game of baseball, you just want truth tellers. And most front offices are kind of known for not being like truth tellers. And it's part of their job, right? They can't disclose it all. And I'm sure JD's had moments where he couldn't disclose things, right? But he knew, like, we had a history together. He knew me. He knew kind of my family. He knew what I stood. He knew what was important for me in my life. And he was able to give me an answer based on who I am, right? And so he might have given me a completely different answer if I was single, younger. He might have given me a completely different answer of like, dude, what do you got to lose? Let's go. Yeah. Give it a shot. Right. But he knew.
That's awesome. Yeah. I had a brief time with JD in Texas on a minor league deal during the COVID season. But like the one thing that I always really appreciated about him is super honest. Like, maybe didn't agree with, some of their decisions or whatever, but he never blew smoke. He always told you, and he did it in a respectful way. Yeah. Where it was like, hey man, it's just, I think we need to, go a different direction, right? I gotta take your roster spot for somebody else. Like, but it wasn't ever this, we're going to get you back here. There was never any of that. No pretentiousness, nothing, right? Like, talk to me as a dude, like, took into account my career, my family, my circumstances, but also at the same time, like, hey man, I've got a job to do. I've got to make decisions that are in the best interest of this organization. And right now that leaves you on the outside looking in, but I appreciate you. I was like, man, that's all I can ask for.
Yeah, absolutely.
The honesty and the respect. But dude, and I can't thank you enough for sharing your story with us because, I think, when we were like writing guys' names down, trying to get in touch with guys to come share their stories, like everybody's story is super valuable, just because of everything we all go through that nobody knows about. Right. Like, like all the injuries that you went through, like looking at like how far you were literally the best player on the planet at 16, 17, going into your senior year of high school, bam, surgery. You have all these different things that happen. And so your path to the majors was, it probably looked like, maybe not to you, because you were really good at just, like you said, being grounded and just staying where your feet are. But to someone watching, he's like, man, like, I wonder if he's going to come back. And you did. And then you have another injury. It's like, man, I wonder if he's going to come back from this one. And you did. So like, dude, your story, like there's so many lessons and things to be gleaned from it. But I would say like the biggest thing is just your resilience and your just ability to continue to come back. And I think a lot of people, maybe, whether it be future athletes or parents of athletes or whatever, I think there's a lot to be taken from that. So I really appreciate you sharing your story with us.
Yeah, I guess my final thought with you too is, I think when you set out on this journey, whether it's at 14 years old, whether it's at 20 years old, your ultimate goal is to make it to the big leagues. And then you want to stay there as long as you possibly can. And you want to achieve all these great things and play for a long time and be remembered. But for someone that didn't have maybe the length of career that maybe you anticipated, maybe kind of just speak to the listeners about whether you would have just pitched one day in the big leagues or you got your 3 or 4 years, like, is it worth it? Is that grind to get to the top absolutely worth it?
No. Like, it's if that is the end goal for you, if that's all that matters, it's not worth it. It's totally not worth it. Like there's not enough like willpower, like mustering up. You go through injuries and you like willpower will only get you so far. But so many guys get to the end of their career and it's kind of like now what? Mm-hmm. Like, who am I? I don't know. And we hear these stories, and I know you guys have heard these stories. Like, we hear these stories all the time of just this huge identity crisis of not even knowing what to do or who they are without the game of baseball. So if making it to the big leagues is it's not worth it.
Yeah.
But you know, I've been a Christian since I was 15. I think I'm just beginning to understand like this integration of like faith in the game of baseball. Mm-hmm. I've kind of had them both in these like two separate boxes, like for my whole life. Right. And they're both awesome. And I'm pursuing them both. Right. But like the fact of the matter is like, I can see now God called me to be a baseball player. And it really wasn't to make it to the big leagues, but it's because that's what he gifted me with. And like, what a shame it would have been to just not give it everything I had, to play for as long as possible, because that's what he called me to do. So for me, like, was it worth it? Yeah. Heck yeah.
That's awesome.
Heck yeah. Because that's what I was called to do.
Man, I really appreciate that messaging there, because I think it wasn't until same thing for me personally, it wasn't until I was done with baseball that I realized like how baseball, oriented like in my life. Right. And I just had things, I didn't have them oriented properly, like as a Christian. And it's like, dude, like it's merely a vehicle. That's all it is. Like it's just like this vessel that you can move the kingdom forward with. And there's so much fruit to be born out of how you just do this thing called baseball. Like, you know, God can show up in different ways throughout your life. And like, we get to look around, and the guys that I really looked up to, and how they lived their life and played the game and just were as people, like guys like Kershaw and guys like Wayno, you know, guys like now like Chris Carpenter, like you can see like their impact is felt throughout the game and beyond it, right? Like they make it, like Adam Wainwright, like one of the coolest stories. I don't know if you guys have ever heard this, but you know, Water Mission is one of a big group that he donates a lot of time and a capital to, but they were in this village in Peru, maybe not Peru. Anyway, he's in this village, and they're like looking at a site to potentially put this well in, right, to provide clean drinking water and all this stuff for. And he does it. 20 years go by, right, or 15 years go by. Not a big deal. There was a kid on the Astros team playing for the Astros who's like, "Hey, Mr. Wainwright, you don't know who I am, but when I was 9 years old, you came to my village and you put in this well, and you gave my dad a job running the well and basically servicing the well and the water. And then I was able to learn how to play baseball." Wow. Because I didn't spend all day, you know,
going to get water,
getting water or being sick or whatever it was. And so just like the fact that Adam, like his, you know, what he did, you know, it made such a massive impact. And he's not the only one, just because that kid, you know, came up to play baseball. But like you think about like the impact that our lives leave that go far beyond the back of our baseball card.
Absolutely.
So, I mean,
Absolutely.
that's just,
cool.
I'm really
cool
glad
story.
you said that.
That's a cool story. I love what you guys are doing too. Like getting guys on and hearing their stories. I think that's so cool, because stories are relatable. Everybody can relate to a story. So it's awesome.
Yeah. I would say I'm kind of, honestly, you mentioned Tony Beasley. He kind of got me. I'll talk about this. When I was with the Rangers, I was there. You know, I was there, but I wasn't there. Like I had my family at home. It was my last go around. Yeah. Happened to be Easter Sunday. I went to chapel and I just kind of listened to the message, right? And I'd kind of always been a believer, but I didn't really know how to like get into it. And once again, Tony was in there, and then the conversations leading up to it, he was just so approachable about it. He like didn't think my questions were dumb, you know, and I felt comfortable talking to him about it. And it's kind of led me down this journey of me, you know, finding my faith and stuff. And we're not building wells, but this is kind of at least my way and his way of we feel like we are servicing the next generation of players kind of through storytelling and adversity and everyone's journey being a little bit different. And I think, you know, my conversation with Tony, you know, I'm a believer in, you know, God's plan. I ended up here meeting Cody. We didn't know each other. We competed against each other. We happened to be neighbors.
Yeah.
We started, you know, my brother's son plays with his kid. We kind of met and then we started talking about a lot of this stuff. Like, how do we get back to the game? How do we leave this game in a better place? Like, what is our calling beyond the stats on the back of our baseball card? And we kind of came up with this idea. So it's been like this really amazing journey for me to have people like you come in and share their story. We really hope that people like enjoy our content because we love making it. We feel like this is our calling to allow parents and kids and even baseball enthusiasts to understand that there's human beings behind the uniform. There's journeys and hardships and difficulties in order to get to where you want to go. Whether you want to pursue a life in baseball or you want to pursue a life in anything else, like there's so many lessons that could be learned just from your career, from everyone else's career that comes in here. And I'm just so thankful to be here doing this.
Yeah, me too. So before we let you go, I wanted to Mauricio Dubon.
Yeah, Honduras.
That's what it was.
Okay.
Mauricio Dubon came up to Waino.
Wow.
And it was kind of his going out way season. He was like, "Hey, Mr. Wainwright," and Waino was like, "Man, these guys just put like an 8 spot on me. Like this guy wants me to sign a jersey or whatever." He's like, "No. Like I just want to thank you for like your generosity and like your life has impacted my family and my village for generations." Wow. And it was like, dude, like that's what it's about. Yeah. Like that, like you want to talk about making an impact and like, you know, fruit of your life, you know, like that's what it looks like. So, but dude, can't thank you enough.
Thank you guys.
Love these conversations. We'll have you on again. We'll talk about some other cool stuff. But if you guys like what we're doing, what we're talking about, please hit that subscribe button. That's the best way to help us and allow us to keep putting out more content. So that's another episode to the Majors.